Chapter 134. Sima Yoyue's voice was very weak, but it reached everyone's ears. 3 years, Sima Yoyue's voice was heard again. Then, her body, which everyone thought had fainted, moved. Yue? Cough, cough. Sima Yue coughed twice. She slowly moved her hands backward and supported herself up. 3 years, she repeated. Seeing Sima Yue stand up, Sima Qing and Sima Lin were shocked. Especially Sima Lin. He was very clear on the extent of her injuries, but he never thought that not only did she not faint, she was even able to stand up. What 3 years? Sima Yulan was also shocked by Sima Yu and asked, I know where the golden snake fruit is. In 3 years, you will protect Grandpa and the others, cough cough, ensure their safety. After 3 years, I will personally go to the Sima family and use the golden snake fruit to exchange for Grandpa and my brothers. Sima Yoyue's body swayed, as if she would collapse at any moment. She could no longer speak, but her gaze was abnormally firm. Everyone present was stunned and looked at her, speechless for a moment. Fifth bro. Sima Yu Ming and the others' eyes reddened. Sima Yu ran over and supported Sima Yu. Sima Yulu took out a pill and fed it to her. Sima Lin's eyes flashed as he said, You said you know the whereabouts of the golden snake fruit. I know who has it, but I don't know where it is. Sima Yue caught her breath and said, The golden snake fruit should be very important to you, right? Compared to the grandfathers who were chased out of the family, it should be much more important. How do you know? Sima Lin's eyebrows twitched, his interest in Sima Yue growing. Sima Yu did not lean on Sima Yuran. She stood on her own and looked at Sima Lin, saying slowly, When that person returned at that time, he would naturally bring the news of the golden snake fruit back. If this was not important to you, you would not have rushed over so quickly. I think that there should be a very important person among you whose soul has been injured. After you heard about the news of the golden snake fruit, you rushed over without stopping. Sima Yulan's eyes shone brighter and brighter as she looked at Sima Yu. She was really smart and had guessed everything. Sima Lin did not speak. Sima Yue coughed twice and continued. So this golden snake fruit is very important to you guys. I am not wrong. Using 3 years of my grandfather's time in exchange for the golden snake fruit is not a loss for you. Why should I make this deal with you? Sima Lin said, We don't even know if we can wait for 3 years. Perhaps after 3 years, we will no longer need this golden snake fruit. If the soul is damaged, it will damage the mind but not the body. Not to mention 3 more years. Even 30 more years won't be a problem. Sima Yue said, You know medicine? Sima Qing asked. Sima Yue did not reply, only looking at Sima Lin and asking, How is it? Even if you're right on this point, how can I believe that you will take the golden snake fruit outside in 3 years? The outside world is filled with danger and danger. Even the average spirit saint would not dare to pass through easily. You are just a little spirit master. How can you reach the level of a spirit saint in 3 years? Sima Lin said, I have my own ways. Sima Yue said, How I find the golden snake fruit and how I break through the barrier outside is my own problem. You only need to protect my grandfather and the others for 3 years. After 3 years, I will definitely appear outside your Sima family's door. Do you dare to make this deal with me? Yue, don't worry about us. Just do your own things in the future. Don't worry about us. Sima Lai looked at Sima Yue, his eyes filled with reluctance. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lin, waiting for his reply. All right, I will make this deal with you. Sima Lin said, In these 3 years, I will settle them down properly. If you do not come after 3 years, whatever happens to them will be decided by the family. Okay, Sima Yue said, I believe that you will not go back on your words. You must protect my grandfather and the others. Otherwise, I will make your Sima family regret. Her voice became softer and softer until she could no longer speak clearly. Before she could finish her last few words, she fainted. Fifth brother. Yue. Fifth young master. Sima Yue leaned on Sima Yuran's body, completely unconscious. Sima Qing looked at Sima Yue and sighed to Sima Lai. You raised a good grandson. Sima Lai walked over and carried Sima Yue. He looked at her with love and heartache before handing her over to the steward. Take good care of young master. Yes, General. This old servant will use my life to protect him. The steward took Sima Yue and promised. He had always known about Sima Yue's past and felt heartache for her. Now that he was shocked by her, she was the only one left in the Sima family. He would definitely take good care of her and protect her. Sima Lai patted the steward's shoulder and said to Sima Lin, "Let's go." Sima Lin summoned a goshawk. That goshawk grew bigger and landed in the courtyard. Divine beast. Someone saw the goshawk's rank and cried out. Sima Lin took the lead and walked up. Sima Qing, Sima Lai, and the others followed suit. Even Sima Ku carried the unconscious Sima Kai and flew up. Sima Yulan hesitated for a moment before coming beside the steward. She took out a bottle of pills and said, "This is a 4th-rank pill. It will be very helpful in treating his injuries. Give it to him to eat later." After speaking, she placed the pill into Sima Yue's embrace before turning around and flying onto the goshawk's back. Once everyone was on, the goshawk flapped its wings and flew away, raising a thick cloud of dust. The old principal, who had been in the air the entire time, saw Sima Lai leave with them and sighed in his heart. He landed on the ground and said to the steward, "Leave him to me. Go and settle the remaining matters of the Sima family. Once you've settled down, come to the sect to look for him." The steward heard Sima Lai's instructions to the old principal and handed Sima Yue over to the old principal. After the Sima family went through such a disaster, their businesses would be shaken. No matter what choice Sima Yue would make in the future, he had to ensure that before she woke up, the Sima family's businesses would not be shaken too much. The old principal looked at Sima Yue. He had seen her performance just now and felt both heartache and praise. Thinking about her future, he could not help but sigh. He carried Sima Yue and flew into the sky above the sect. He waved his hands at the teaching director who was guarding the entrance, and the teaching director got people to close the great array protecting the sect. He carried Sima Yue directly to the courtyard where he lived. Bei Gongtang and the others saw the unconscious person and hurriedly ran to the place where they lived, leaving behind a group of students who were still discussing the unforeseen event. The spectators from various powers also returned to their own houses and began to discuss the division of powers in the capital. The Sima family existed in name only, and the power in the capital had to be divided again. Everyone wanted to get a share of the pie at this time. Many commoners came to the general's residence. The once majestic mansion had turned into ruins, and they told everyone what kind of unforeseen event had happened. Chapter 135. The raging flames dyed the entire sky red, and the entire house was burned into ruins. The 3 words Shimin Residence on the plaque above the main entrance was slowly engulfed by the flames. Shimin Yu, didn't you rely on the fact that your talent is better than mine to suppress me? Why don't you turn around and take a look at what your Shimin clan has become now? Ha ha ha. A sharp laughter came from the flame, and it was so ear-piercing. Child, this is not your fault. You have to live well in the future. Mother hopes that you can live happily. A gentle and loving voice soothed her endless pain. The red wedding dress, the red flames, and the red blood kept flashing in front of her eyes. Sima Yue finally couldn't take it anymore and opened her eyes. "Young master, you're awake." Chun Jian saw that Sima Yue's eyes were filled with tears and was wiping them away. Seeing that Sima Yue had opened her eyes, Chun Jian happily called out. Sima Yue turned around and saw Chun Jian's face. Only then did she slowly come back to her senses. She wanted to reach out and touch her head, but she found that her hand was wrapped in gauze. "What does young master want?" Chun Jian asked. Sima Yue shook her head and asked, "Where is this?" "This is the headmaster's courtyard. It's been here ever since you fainted," Chun Jian said. At this moment, Yin Yu came in from outside. Seeing that Sima Yue had woken up, she hurried over and said, "Young master, you're finally awake. You've been unconscious for so many days. We were worried sick." "How long have I been unconscious?" Sima Yue sat up and saw that there were many bandages on her body. She reached out to remove them. "It's already been 4 days," Chun Jian said. If it weren't for the principal repeatedly telling us that you were fine, Yunyu and I would have been worried to death. Sima Yuyue's hand paused as she mumbled, 5 days. Grandpa and the rest have been gone for 5 days. Yunyu went up and grabbed Sima Yue's hand, saying, Young master, why are you pulling the bandage? You're still injured. Sima Yue lowered her head and looked at her own body. Thinking back to the duel with Sima Lin that day, she could not even take 2 of his moves. My injuries have already healed. I don't need to wrap it up anymore, Sima Yue said as she continued to pull it off. Chun Jian and Yunyu wanted to stop Sima Yue, but the 2 of them were surprised to find that after Sima Yue removed the gauze, all her previous injuries were healed. She got off the bed and walked without any problems. She opened the door and walked out. Young master's body, Yunyu watched as Sima Yue left. She was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Chun Jian pulled her back and shook her head, indicating that she shouldn't be curious about the young master's matters. From a long time ago, she had discovered that not only had the young master's temperament changed, but he also had many secrets. As his servant girls, it was best for the 2 of them not to ask anything. Sima Yue came to the courtyard. The last time she came here, it was to say goodbye to Feng Zhixing. She didn't expect to come again so soon. The old principal was in the courtyard tending to his flowers and plants. When he heard the noise, he knew who it was without turning his head. After sleeping for so many days, you're finally awake. I've troubled the principal. Sima Yue lowered her eyes, hiding the emotions in her heart. The old principal stood up from the garden. At this moment, he looked like a farmer. His trousers were rolled up and his hands were covered in mud. I promised your grandfather and master that I would take care of you. Naturally, I will take good care of you. The old principal walked out and said, Come with me. Sima Yue watched as the old principal condensed water vapor to wash the mud off his hands. She was speechless. Only he would use his spiritual energy to condense water vapor to wash his hands. The 2 of them arrived at the old principal's bedroom. He entered the room and quickly came out with a ring on his hand. He handed the ring to Sima Yue and said, Your grandfather gave this to me before the accident. He told me to give it to you. Sima Yue took the ring and held it tightly in her hand. Since you're fine now, you should go home. The old principal said, In order to take care of you, I let Chun Jian and Yunyu stay here for the past few days. Now that you're fine, let them go back. Also, your friends have come to see you a few times. As for the rest, you can decide when you go home. I'll give you a few days off. You can come back to school after you've settled the matters at home. I understand. Thank you, Principal. Sima Yue bowed to the principal and turned to leave. Chun Jian and Yunyu had already packed their things. When they saw Sima Yue come out, the 2 of them quickly followed. Chun Jian, how's the situation at home these past few days? After leaving the school, many places outside were still a mess. Sima Yue thought of the general's residence that was in ruins and asked, Young master, after you fainted, we've been in the school and haven't left the courtyard. That's why we don't know what's going on outside. Chun Jian replied, Then let's go back and take a look. Sima Yue sighed and brought them back to the general's residence. When they reached where the general's residence used to be, the ruins had already been cleared. The new houses had not been built yet, and the people from the general's residence were only temporarily staying in the houses that had been spared. 5th young master, you're back. A guard saw Sima Yue and happily reported the good news to the others. 5th young master, are you all right? 5th young master. The guards rushed over and surrounded Sima Yue in the middle. Sima Lai, Sima Yu Ming, and the others were not around, so Sima Yue became their only master. Sima Yue nodded at them, indicating that she was fine. Seeing that the number of guards did not decrease, she was relieved. It seemed that nobody abandoned the general's residence because Sima Lai and the others were not around. Where's the steward? The steward is discussing something with a few stewards. They're in the kitchen. A guard replied, All right, thank you. Sima Yue walked towards the kitchen. When she passed by the library, she realized that most of the houses had been destroyed, but the library was completely fine. Could it be that this is some kind of treasure? Sima Yue muttered as she looked at the library. However, she did not have the time to think about this at the moment. Thinking that she would take a look when she had the time, she went to the kitchen. The kitchen was still the kitchen, but the dining hall beside it had become a meeting room. When Sima Yue arrived, the steward was discussing something with a few stewards. When they saw her enter, everyone in the house stood up. "Fifth young master, are you feeling better?" The steward asked excitedly. Sima Yue nodded, saying, "I'm fine now. Now, you can tell me about the situation in the general's residence in the imperial capital." "Yeah, you can all go and rest. The steward can stay behind and report to me." After receiving her orders, the few stewards left, leaving her and the steward alone. Sima Yue found a place to sit down and listen to the steward talk about the current situation. Her expression became uglier and uglier, and the anger in her eyes grew stronger. Chapter 136. Young Master, there's one more thing. The butler looked at Sima Yue worriedly. "What is it?" Because young Master said that he knew the whereabouts of the golden snake fruit. Many people wanted to take advantage of young Master. The butler said, after that, the principal of the Capital Institute released the news that anyone who dares to have designs on you is going against the Institute. That's why those people haven't done anything these days. "Oh, you want to hit on me?" Sima Yue sneered. "Then let them come. When the time comes, I'll kill them one by one. If two come, I'll kill a pair. If the entire clan comes, I won't mind exterminating them." The butler felt sorry for Sima Yue when he saw the coldness in her eyes. If it weren't for the current situation, she wouldn't have become like this. "Young Master, since the principal has spoken, those people naturally won't dare to do anything openly. However, we still have to guard against them from behind the scenes." The butler thought that Sima Yue was just saying it out of anger and did not know that she really had that kind of ability. "There's no need to worry about this for now. I'll handle it myself." Sima Yue waved her hand. "Were you discussing the shop with those stewards just now?" "Yes. Many forces thought that the general's residence would be disbanded after the general left, so they all wanted to get a share of the profits. Some families came to me, wanting to buy our shops at a low price. Some suppliers directly cut off our supply, probably because they were afraid that we wouldn't be able to come up with the money. Therefore, we are now in a precarious situation. Even the number of guests has decreased by more than half." The butler said worriedly. "In that case, our shop is now an empty shell," Sima Yue said. "Yes, I was just discussing with those managers to see if we can find another shop." The butler said, "Are all the people outside trying to take advantage of the situation?" Sima Yue asked. "That's not it either. The Chu family sent someone over previously, saying that the reason was to provide us with some goods. However, their own abilities are limited and they can't completely resolve our crisis." The butler said, "Fatty." Sima Yue recalled hearing Fatty telling her that he would not let anything happen to the Sima family. He really did it. In addition, the Beast Tamers Guild has also said that they will help us. They are willing to provide us with some tamed, low-level spirit beasts. The butler added, "I heard that this was decided by the vice president of the guild. Then it should be Ziqi who went to look for his granduncle." Sima Yue said, "Providing help in times of need is always more meaningful than icing on the cake. No matter how much help they give us, we have to thank them. At the same time, we have to make those who want to take advantage of the situation pay the price." When the butler saw the confidence in Sima Yue's eyes, his heart calmed down. As long as he did not collapse, the Sima family would not collapse. "Young Master, what should we do next?" "Go and call those stewards in. We will discuss this." Sima Yue said. She did not believe that as a beast tamer and alchemist, she would not be able to support the Sima family. "Okay." The butler went out and quickly brought those stewards in. "Fifth young master." The stewards bowed to Sima Yue in unison. To them now, she was already their master. In the past, they only listened to Sima lie and did not discriminate against her. However, they did not approve of her in their hearts. However, after hearing about what happened that day, everyone treated her as their master. "Forget it. Everyone, find a place to sit." Sima Yue waved her hand and said, "The butler has just told me the situation. Firstly, Yue would like to thank everyone for not leaving the Sima family. I thank everyone on behalf of my grandfather and brothers." Saying this, She stood up and bowed to everyone. Young master, you are too kind. Those stewards stood up one by one, not daring to accept Sima Yue's bow. This is what I should do. Sima Yue sat down again. Those stewards also sat back down. I also heard that one or two stewards felt that the Sima family would disband because of this and left at this time. I do not blame them for this. However, I will definitely say that the Sima family will not decline. It will only become stronger. Those who left, we will make them regret their decision today. Okay, we believe in young master. We will listen to young master no matter what you want us to do. Sima Yue's simple words made everyone feel more energized. She had now become their backbone. First of all, we still have to continue operating the shop. Sima Yue said, I will provide the pills. You don't have to worry about the pills and herbs. On one hand, we will look for the beast tamer masters. On the other hand, I will find some. As for the rest, we will look for the Chu family. Even if we do not make a profit, we have to replenish the goods first. We cannot let the shop be short of anything. Everyone knew that she was an alchemist. Hence, when they heard her talking about the pills, they did not feel that it was inappropriate. However, when it came to the matter of the spirit beasts, they were a little hesitant. Young master, although the Beast Tamer Master Guild said that they will provide some help, they cannot satisfy our needs. If we ask them for help, I am afraid that we will have to pay a hefty price. One of the stewards said, we only need to provide them with the current quantity. We still have to rely on ourselves for the future supply. Sima Yue said, rely on ourselves? Young master, there are no Beast Tamer Masters. How can we rely on ourselves? Who said that there are no Beast Tamer Masters? Sima Yue said, we don't know how to tame beasts. Could it be? Everyone turned to look at her. She nodded and said, that's right. I am a Beast Tamer Master. Hence, in the future, you will be in charge of finding people to capture the spirit beasts. I will tame them. Young master is a Beast Tamer Master? Everyone looked at her in shock, as if they were wondering if she was telling the truth. Young master, aren't you an alchemist? Someone asked. Who said that an alchemist can't be a Beast Tamer Master? Sima Yue retorted. No. That person shook his head stupidly. It seemed like he was quite shocked. But young master, if we want to capture the spirit beasts, I am afraid that we do not have enough manpower. The steward said, then we will recruit people. Sima Yue said, but young master, we do not have that much money now. The steward said, we did not make much profit in the past. Hence, we do not have much inventory. Now, we have to repair the house and look for resources. All these things require money. Furthermore, those spirit masters may not be able to be bribed with money. No money. That is a big problem. Sima Yue said, but if money is not enough, we can use other methods to attract them to work for us. For example, what they want. Chapter 137. The meeting lasted for almost 2 hours. After coming out of the temporary conference hall, every manager's face was brimming with confidence, as if they had seen a beautiful future. Sima Yue and the butler came out after her. The butler felt relieved when he saw Sima Yue. She wasn't depressed, she wasn't passive, and she wasn't defeated. Instead, she had arranged everything in such a short time. In the past, no one had realized that she had such a talent for leadership. Young master, Chun Jian had been waiting outside. When she saw Sima Yue come out, she went forward and said, Young master Chu, and the others are here. They have been waiting for a while. Fatty and the others are here? Where is it? Sima Yue asked. They're waiting outside. Chun Jian said. We don't have any extra rooms right now, so we can only let them wait outside. I got it. Sima Yue said. Butler, you could go ahead with your work. Yes, this old servant will take his leave. The butler bowed and turned to leave. Chun Jian brought Sima Yue to the front, and when she saw several people standing on the ground, she quickly walked up to them. Yue. They heard footsteps and turned to see her walking away. Sima Yue saw the worry on Bei Gongtang and the others' faces and smiled at them, saying, I'm so sorry, but now you guys don't even have a place to sit. Yu, we heard that you left the academy, so we came over to take a look. Bei Gongtang said, How is her body now? That's right. I heard that many of your bones were broken. How are you now? Do you still feel pain anywhere? Fatty Chu asked. Sima Yue shook her head and said, It's not that serious. I just slept for a few days. I'll be fine when I wake up. Really? Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue. She moved her body, and there was no problem. Only then did everyone relax. Let's go somewhere else to talk. There's no place in the general's residence that can entertain you. Sima Yue said, Let's go to the tea house nearby. The five of them went to the tea house and found a private room. When the tea was served, the waiter glanced at Sima Yue a few more times. Sima Yue picked up the teacup and said to Fatty Chu, Fatty, I'll use tea as a substitute for wine to thank you for your family's help at this time. You're so polite. I'm not used to it. Fatty Chu scratched the back of his head as he said, Sima Yue uses a Yoyu's and of the Ouyang Fei and Bei Gong Tang drank their tea. Yue, I heard that the Sima family situation is not good. Do you have any plans? Fatty Chu asked. Of course I do. Sima Yue said, Those people want to take the chance to divide the Sima family. It's not that easy. Although grandfather and the rest are no longer around, I'm still around. I won't let the Sima family disband. I want to make it stronger. What do you plan to do? Wei Ziqi asked. Sima Yue smiled. I still need your help on this. The next day, Sima Yue followed Wei Ziqi to the Beast Tamer Master Guild to meet the vice president. Granduncle, Yue is here. Wei Ziqi brought Sima Yue into the living room and said to the people there. Sima Yue bowed slightly and said, Greetings to the vice president. The vice president nodded and said, Fifth young master, please take a seat. Thank you, vice president. You could just call me Yue. Sima Yue and Wei Ziqi sat down, and a servant girl immediately came to serve tea. Yue, Ziqi came to find me yesterday and insisted that I meet you. What's the matter? The vice president asked. It's like this. After I woke up, I heard from the housekeeper that the Beast Tamer Master Guild had helped us. I heard that it was under your orders, so I wanted to thank you. Also, there are some things that I want to discuss with you. Although I don't have much contact with your grandfather, I know that he is a righteous person. Plus, your relationship with Ziqi is so good, so helping you is not a big deal. The vice president said, As for the things you want to discuss, you can discuss it with the people you sent. This matter needs to be discussed with the person in charge. That's why I came to find you through Ziqi. Sima Yue said, Vice President, I'm not here to seek help. I'm here to cooperate with the Beast Tamer Master Guild. Cooperate? The vice president looked at Sima Yue, not knowing what she had to cooperate with him. The Beast Tamer Master Guild is not under my control. If you want to cooperate with the Beast Tamer Master Guild, you have to take out something that can move the guild. Since I'm here, I naturally thought of this. Sima Yue said, Then tell me, how do you want to cooperate with the Beast Tamer Master Guild? The vice president asked. The Sima family shop needs some tamed spirit beasts. I hope that the Beast Tamer Master Guild can help us fill this gap temporarily. Sima Yue said, In return, I'm willing to tame a certain number of saint beasts for the Beast Tamer Master Guild. What did you say? You can tame saint beasts. The vice president and Wei Ziqi were stunned, thinking that they were hallucinating. Sima Yue nodded and said, That's right. I wonder if this condition can be exchanged with the Beast Tamer Master Guild? Yue, you're a Beast Tamer Master now? Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue. Even though they lived under the same roof every day, she would still shock them from time to time. Sima Yue nodded her head. The vice president looked at Sima Yue with a different gaze and said, You've tamed saint beasts before? Yes. What level? 4th level. Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue as if he was looking at a monster. His great-uncle had said that his talent was outstanding and that he would achieve great things in the future. However, he was still unable to tame saint beasts. Sima Yue was actually able to tame 4th-level saint beasts. Even his great-uncle, the vice president of the Beast Tamer Master Guild, who had lived for more than 100 years, could only tame 6th-level saint beasts. Furthermore, her spiritual energy level was higher than his, and she was also a pill master. He rubbed his forehead. Was this guy really the person who lived with him? No, how was he human? He was obviously a pervert. Word or not proof. The vice president calmed himself down and looked at Sima Yue. I can prove it, Sima Yue said. If the guild has any spirit beast that I can tame them on the spot. It can be considered as a show of sincerity for our cooperation. All right, a saint beast just came 2 days ago. I was planning to tame it in 2 days, but I can let you try it now. The vice president was interested in her. Thinking about the spirit beast that was just sent over, he also wanted her to try it. He wanted to see if she was really able to tame saint beasts like what she said just now. Sima Yue smiled confidently. All right. Chapter 138. Title, Chapter, Author. Well, if you have really tamed a sacred beast, then the Sima family's spiritual beast tamer for this period of time will be provided to you for free. The vice president said, if you're unable to tame a spirit beast, then our Beast Tamer Master Guild will also lend a helping hand. However, we will need to collect some costs. Sure, Sima Yue nodded, but I have a small request. Go ahead. I want to train beasts publicly. Sima Yue said, public beast taming? Yes, it's best if it's in a crowded place like a square, Sima Yue replied. The vice president immediately understood Sima Yue's plan. If she were to tame a sacred beast in front of everyone, then her status in the Dongchen kingdom would instantly skyrocket. Those who had designs on the Sima family would naturally shrink back, and she could also rely on her own fame to attract some wandering spirit masters. All right, then I'll get someone to make the arrangements. In a while, we'll go to the Imperial City Plaza to tame the beasts in public. While those people were preparing, the vice president brought Sima Yue to take a look at the holy beast that had just arrived. A level 2 earth bear beast was locked in a cage. When it saw someone coming, its eyes flashed with an ominous glint. A level 2 sacred beast? Sima Yue asked as she recognized the earth bear's level. This earth bear beast's mental strength is rather strong. Although it is only level 2, the difficulty of taming level 3 sacred beasts is not any lower. The vice president said, okay. Sima Yue looked at the restless earth bear in the cage and was not worried about the outcome at all. At this moment, 2 servants walked in and bowed to the vice president, saying, Vice President, we're here to carry the spirit beast over. The vice president nodded and said, go. Be careful. Yes. The 2 men walked over and carried the cage out. Although it was a mimicry, the size of this earth bear beast was not to be underestimated. Let's go. The vice president turned around and left. Sima Yue was about to follow, but was stopped by Wei Ziqi. What's wrong? She looked at Wei Ziqi in confusion. Wei Ziqi pulled her over and said softly, Yue, can you really tame this earth bear beast? This is a rank 2 holy beast. If you fail to tame it, you will suffer a backlash. Don't worry. When have I ever done something that I'm not confident in? Sima Yue smiled and followed the vice president out. Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue's back and sighed as he followed her. Although he knew that she had always been confident and would do what she said, he still doubted that she was already a beast-taming grandmaster. When Sima Yue and the others arrived at the plaza, there was already a sea of people. The entire plaza was so crowded that not even a drop of water could trickle through. When they heard that someone was going to tame a beast in public, everyone came over out of curiosity. Sure, Mo Li and Nalan Lan were coincidentally passing by the plaza as well. When they heard that someone from the Beast Tamer Master Guild wanted to tame a beast, they both got off their carriages at the same time and came to the center of the plaza to see who was so high profile. Make way. A guard opened a path in front of the vice president and the rest. When everyone saw that it was someone from the Beast Tamer Master Guild, they consciously made way for them. Although the vice president lived in seclusion most of the time, most of the people in the capital still recognized him. Seeing Sima Yue following behind him, many people were puzzled as they did not know what they were going to do. The vice president brought Sima Yue to the center of the plaza, where the cage containing the earth bear beast was placed. How is it here? The vice president asked. Sima Yue looked at the people around her. Not bad. Many people from different powers had come. Furthermore, the people from the Beast Tamer Master Guild were very fast. Not only did they attract so many people, They also drew a temporary boundary, keeping the crowd outside. Very good, Sima Yue said. Then you can start after you've adjusted your state. The vice president said. No need, Sima Yue said as she walked to the center of the plaza and sat down in front of the cage. Sima Yue? Why is she sitting outside the cage? Didn't something happen to the Sima family? Why is she still here? Looking at her actions, is she going to tame the beast? It can't be. Isn't she a trash? How could she be a beast tamer? Did you just come from another city? This Sima Yue is no longer a trash. She started cultivating a year ago and is now a second-grade alchemist. We will never be able to catch up with her talent. How can she be considered trash? What? She's an alchemist. And a second grade? Yes, during the emperor's birthday, she even refined pills in front of everyone. This is something that the entire capital knows. She's an alchemist, but why does she look like she's going to tame the beast? Could she be a beast tamer? How can that be? It's already a miracle that she's an alchemist. How could she be a beast tamer? If that's the case, then we should find a hole to hide in. What's the point of living like this? But looking at her actions, she really looks like she's going to tame the beast. If she's really a beast tamer and an alchemist, then how powerful is she? Even if the Sima family only has her as the head of the family, they won't decline. Did you guys notice? The one in the cage seems to be a sacred beast. What? Everyone's gaze landed on the cage. It was indeed a sacred beast. If she was able to tame it, then she would be a beast tamer grandmaster. Everyone didn't dare to think further, afraid that they wouldn't want to live anymore. Many people believed that Sima Yue was a beast tamer. Of course, there were also some who didn't believe it. Sure, Mo Li didn't believe it. She looked at Sima Yue and said, Sima Yue, such a big thing happened to the Sima family. Why aren't you at home? What are you doing out here? Aren't you an alchemist? Why? Do you think this spiritual beast will be manipulated by you like medicinal herbs? Do you think you're a beast tamer? If I were you, I wouldn't be here to embarrass myself. Sima Yue looked at Mo Li and said faintly, who said that alchemists can't be beast tamers. After she finished speaking, she reached her hand into the cage. Many people saw her touch the earth bear beast and close their eyes in fright. The cage containing the spiritual beasts seemed to restrict their strength. Although their eyes were fierce and violent, they didn't bite her hand. She placed her hand on the earth bear beast's forehead and activated the imperial beast art, beginning to tame it. Bei Gong Tang, Ouyang Fei, and Fatty Chu walked past and saw Wei Ziqi standing in the middle of the empty space. They squeezed in to see what was going on. Seeing Sima Yue taming the earth bear beast, Fatty Chu was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. Ziqi, what is Yue doing? Don't tell me she's taming a beast. Fatty Chu came to Wei Ziqi's side and asked, Didn't you see it? Wei Ziqi rolled his eyes at Fatty Chu. Bei Gong Tang looked at the earth bear beast in the cage and said, The one in the cage is a saint beast, right? Or a second-grade earth bear beast? What? When Fatty Chu heard this, he hurriedly reached out his hand to support his chin. If not, he was really afraid that his chin would be gone. Gentlemen's Assembly. Chapter 139. Ziqi. When did Yue become a beast tamer master? Fatty Chu could not believe his own eyes as he grabbed Wei Ziqi and asked. Wei Ziqi slapped his hand away and said, You're asking me, but who am I supposed to ask? We should just watch quietly. Bei Gong Tang said. Fatty Chu and the rest quieted down as they watched the game between Sima Yue and the Earth Bear. In the eyes of outsiders, the taming process was just one man and one beast standing there without moving or speaking. In fact, there was nothing to see, and it took quite a long time. But even so, Sima Yue tamed them from morning till afternoon, and no one left. Everyone wanted to see if the trash of the past had really become not only an apothecary, but also a beast tamer master. She wanted to see if she could successfully tame it. Wei Ziqi and the other members of the Beast Tamer Master Guild already believed that Sima Yue was a Beast Tamer Master. If she wasn't, she wouldn't have been able to last so long against the Earth Bear. Almost there. The Vice President's eyes lit up as he looked at Sima Yue. Wei Ziqi and the rest looked towards the Earth Bear Beast and saw that the fierceness in its eyes was no longer there. It was almost as docile as the spirit beasts sold in the spirit beast shops. After a while, Sima Yue opened her eyes. She was not too tired. Woo-woo. The earth bear beast was lying in the cage. Sima Yue went forward and opened the cage. The earth bear beast did not even know that it had come out. When the people present saw her open the cage, they all retreated in fear. However, when they saw that the earth bear beast didn't come out to attack them, they relaxed and continued to watch the show. The vice president stepped forward and looked at the earth bear, saying, "It's indeed tamed successfully. I didn't expect you to succeed, and the time you spent was a third shorter than the average beast tamer. It's indeed not easy." Sima Yue smiled and said, "The spirit beasts I tamed have another characteristic." "What?" the vice president asked. "Is the owner of this spirit beast here? If he is, you can let him experiment on the spot. I believe that the results will not disappoint you," Sima Yue said. The vice president glanced at a middle-aged man waiting by the side of the stage. The man understood and walked over. Actually, when he first heard that his spiritual beast would be tamed by Sima Yue, he did not agree. However, this spiritual beast had already been entrusted to the Beast Tamer Master Guild, and the vice president did not say anything, so he could only watch from the side. He did not expect Sima Yue to succeed. Now, he believed what she said and started to look forward to what she said. The vice president said, "You heard what Yue said. Are you willing to sign the contract now?" "All right." Sima Yue and the vice president retreated to the side. That person walked in front of the earth bear and placed his hand on its forehead to start the contract. Soon, a contract formation was formed in the square, wrapping around the man and the beast. After the contract was completed, the formation turned into 2 silver lights and drilled into the man and the beast's foreheads. There's nothing special about it. The people present were a little disappointed when they saw that there was nothing special about the contract. The earth bear's owner also did not feel anything special. Just as he was about to ask, he suddenly felt a surge of energy in his body. A large amount of spiritual energy surged out from the contract space. He quickly sat down cross-legged and began to guide the energy in his body. Soon, the light of leveling up shone and enveloped the man and the beast again. Oh my God, are they leveling up together? They can still level up after signing the contract. What kind of taming method is this? It's too magical. Everyone present was shocked by this scene. They looked at Sima Yue as if they were looking at a treasure. If the spiritual beast she tamed could level up after signing a contract with her, then wouldn't they be able to level up after signing a contract with her? Even though the vice president had lived for a long time, this was the first time he saw leveling up after signing a contract. No wonder she said that she had the capital to work with the Beast Tamer Master Guild. Just as everyone was discussing, the light of leveling up slowly faded. The owner had leveled up by 2 levels, and the spiritual beast had leveled up by 1. That person opened his eyes and looked at Sima Yue excitedly. He stood up and bowed to Sima Yue, saying, "Thank you, 5th young master, for taming the spiritual beast for me. If the general's residence has any problems in the future, please look for me. I will definitely help you." "You're welcome." Sima Yue smiled and waved her hand, but the general's residence is no more. Only the Sima residence is left. If I need your help in the future, I will definitely look for you. With a grandson like you, General Sima will definitely be safe and sound. If there's nothing else, I will go back first. With that, he bowed to the vice president and Sima Yue and turned to leave. He had just leveled up and needed to go back and consolidate his strength. Sima Yue looked at the excited crowd and knew that she had achieved her goal. She said to the vice president, "Vice president, let's go back." "Okay." The vice president nodded and left with the people from the Beast Tamer Master Guild, leaving behind a few people to pack up. The people who were watching the show saw that the main characters had left and also dispersed. However, they did not forget about this matter and instead spread the news. Such a miraculous thing must be told to more people. Sure, Mo Li did not think that Sima Yue was actually a Beast Tamer Master and was even a great Beast Tamer Master. Thinking that Sima Yue was better than her in refining pills, although she was not convinced, she could only leave resentfully. Nailanlan was also shocked by Sima Yoyue's actions. She grew up in the clan and naturally knew the consequences of Sima Yoyue's actions today. Thinking that her own clan was planning to make a move on the Sima family, she immediately sent people back to tell her father about this matter. Returning to the Beast Tamer Master Guild, the people in the guild looked at her differently. Just the fact that she was a great Beast Tamer Master was enough for them to look up to, not to mention that she was also a second-tier pill master. Once again returning to the living room, the vice president sent people to greet Sima Yue, Wei Ziqi, Fatty Chu, and the others before leaving for a while. Today's matter had to be reported to the president. Originally, he only wanted to help the Sima family, but he did not think that Sima Yue would take out such a huge bargaining chip to cooperate with them. According to his intentions, he could give Sima Yue more benefits, but he had to report it to the president. In the living room, Fatty Chu and the others were still immersed in the shock from just now and had not recovered. Each of them looked at Sima Yue as if they were looking at a monster. Even Bei Gongtang, who had seen many geniuses, looked at her the same way as Fatty Chu and the others. Yue, how much do you have that we don't know about? Fatty Chu exclaimed. Cough, cough. Sima Yue coughed twice, thinking that she really had many secrets. Yue, when did you become a great beast tamer master? Ouyang Fei asked curiously. The last time I came back from Luo mountain range, didn't I leave again? I went back to the mountains to tame spirit beasts. At that time, I knew that something might happen to the Sima family, so I wanted to increase our strength. But I never thought that it would be completely useless in front of those people. You're saying that you became a great beast tamer master in just 10 days. Fatty Chu cried out in shock. Chapter 140. Every time they thought that they had calmed down after being provoked by Sima Yue, she would ruthlessly provoke them again. Actually, it's nothing much. Alchemy and beast taming both rely on mental strength. Due to some reasons, my mental strength is slightly stronger than the average person. Sima Yue said, not human. After a long while, Fatty Chu finally spat out this sentence. Agreed. Ouyang Fei nodded. That's right. Bei Gongtang agreed. I'm thinking, should I pry open Yue's head and see what's inside? Wei Ziqi, who had always been gentle and refined, had been provoked to the point that he revealed his valiant nature. Sima Yue looked at them speechlessly. She knew that she was a little perverted, but these people shouldn't be so agitated. Fortunately, at this moment, the president and vice president of the Beast Tamers Guild came in and interrupted their conversation. President, Granduncle. Wei Ziqi stood up and bowed to the two of them, and at the same time told Sima Yue about the identity of the people who had come. Sima Yue and the rest also stood up and bowed. The president waved his hand and asked everyone to sit down. The president sat down in the main seat and started sizing up Sima Yue. Sima Yue met the president's gaze calmly. While he was sizing her up, she was sizing him up too. Capable. This was her first impression of him. Confidence. This was his first impression of her. Fifth young master. I've just heard about what happened today. The fact that you become a great beast tamer at such a young age has really shocked this old man. The president stroked his mustache and said, I wonder where fifth young master learned from. My master has always been living in seclusion in the mountains. He lives a low-key life and doesn't like the disturbances of the outside world. That's why he doesn't allow me to talk about him. Please forgive me. Sima Yue spouted nonsense. She didn't have a master, so where was she going to find one? Speaking of which, that Mo Sha had given her pointers when she was training beasts. The Imperial Beast art was also given to her by him, so strictly speaking, he could be considered half her master. However, his existence was an absolute secret, so it was impossible for him to speak of it. The president nodded. He knew that people like her had their own preferences. Some liked to show off, while others liked to keep a low profile. Since she didn't want to talk about it, he couldn't force her. You said that you want to cooperate with our Beast Tamers Guild? Sima Yue nodded and said, Yes, I'm sure the president knows about what happened to the Sima family. Our current situation is not good. Many forces want to take over the Sema family because my grandfather is not around. So I want to cooperate with the Beast Tamers Guild. You can provide us with spiritual beasts for a period of time. In return, I will tame a batch of sacred beasts for the Beast Tamers Guild. She had heard Wei Ziqi say before that there were not many people in the Beast Tamer Master Guild who were able to tame saint beasts. Furthermore, they would take a long time to recover, so she believed that the point she had raised would be very tempting to the Beast Tamer Master Guild. We don't need you to tame many sacred beasts. The president said, I would like to invite you to join our Beast Tamers Guild. When the time comes, the Beast Tamers Guild will provide you with the spiritual beasts you need for free. Join a guild? Sima Yoyue's heart was a little hesitant. This was not part of her plan, as she did not want to be restricted. Yes, you can join the guild as an elder. Normally, you won't need to do anything. You just need to tame a few spiritual beasts for the Beast Tamers Guild occasionally. When the Beast Tamers Guild is in danger, you just need to appear for a bit. This is much better than taming many sacred beasts. The president said, but I don't have any plans to join any organization at the moment. Furthermore, you should know that I will be leaving Dongchun country in 2 years. It wouldn't be good for me to join you. Sima Yue rejected. When Wei Ziqi heard Sima Yoyue's words, he was a little anxious for her. The position of the Beast Tamers Guild's president was not something that just anyone could obtain. Don't be in a hurry to reject me. The president waved his hands and said, I naturally know that you are leaving, but you are still here. Furthermore, if you join the Beast Tamers Guild, as long as you don't do anything that will let the guild down, you will always be an elder. When the time comes for you to leave Dongchun country, the Sima family will also need a backing. Isn't that right? Sima Yue was silent. The president was right. She will be leaving very soon. When the time comes, the Sima family's foundation would not be stable, and they would indeed need a strong backing. And the Beast Tamers Guild was just right for this. The people in the house did not make a sound, giving her time to consider. This was a big decision. After a while, Sima Yue nodded her head and said, All right, I agree to join the Beast Tamers Guild. Everyone in the house laughed. The president nodded his head and took out a badge from his spatial ring, saying, This is the badge of an elder of the Beast Tamers Guild. Take it. Sima Yue stood up and took the badge with both hands. All right, from now on, you are the 9th elder. The president said with a smile. That's it. Sima Yue blurted out. Wasn't there a process for a power to gain an elder? Seeing the doubt in her eyes, the president smiled but did not say anything. The vice president at the side said, We know that you don't like these complicated matters, so we'll just skip it. When the time comes, we'll just announce to the public that you are our elder. Thank you, President and Vice President. Sima Yue kept the badge into her spatial ring and returned to her seat. Regarding the matter of the spirit beasts, you could just find someone to look for Manager Fu. He will arrange it for you. The president said, Thank you, President. After leaving the Beast Tamers Guild, Sima Yue was still in a daze. How did she become an elder of the Beast Tamers Guild just like that? You don't know this, but for a normal person to become an elder of the guild, they have to go through layers of tests and selections. After confirming the candidate, there are 3 ceremonies. It's very troublesome. Wei Ziqi explained. I think you're the only one who can receive such treatment. It's best if you don't. Sima Yue said, Thank you for today. If it wasn't for you, meeting the vice president would be a headache for me. Sima Yue said, No need to be so polite. Wei Ziqi smiled. All right, the 4 of us will return to the academy first. If you need anything, just get someone to look for us. Okay, I will. After parting ways with them, she returned to the Sima residence. Today, her reputation had already spread. Very soon, the news of her becoming an elder of the Beast Tamers Guild would spread. The matter of the spirit beasts in the shop had also been settled. Now, she needed to return and discuss the next step with the housekeeper. She was still used to taking the old path to the main entrance. Only when she reached the flat ground did she remember that the main entrance was gone. She stood blankly in front of the old main entrance. Thinking about how the general's residence used to be here, her heart ached. Grandfather, brothers, wait for you, Wei. I will definitely save you. Chapter 141. Young Master. The butler had just returned and walked over when he saw Sima Yue in a daze. Sima Yue turned to the butler and asked, "How is it? The Chu family has already decided to cooperate with us. We still have to continue discussing the details." The butler said, "Today, Sima Yue went to the Beast Tamers Guild while he went to the Chu family to look for Fatty Chu's father to discuss the details of the supply." "Young Master, what's the situation on your side?" "It went well," Sima Yue said. "Let's talk about it when we get back." When they returned to the temporary meeting hall, Sima Yue told them about what happened today. When they heard that Sima Yue had not only reached an agreement with the Beast Tamer Guild, but also became an elder of the guild, they were elated. "Now that we've made a name for ourselves, we can start recruiting now," Sima Yue said. "We are in urgent need of manpower, so we can relax the requirements. As long as they are capable and have a decent character, they will be fine." Furthermore, he had to promise that he would serve the Sima Manor for 10 years. During these 10 years, he would receive a salary from the Sima Manor. 10 years later, it's up to them to decide whether to stay or leave. "Young Master, why is it 10 years? The butler was puzzled. "Some of those spirit masters don't like being tied down. If we want them to serve us for the rest of their lives, they won't agree. But if it's only 10 years, they'll treat it as a deal," Sima Yue said, "and 10 years is enough for us to develop our own forces. So that's how it is. Young Master is more considerate." The butler nodded. "As for the recruitment requirements, their strength must be at least a great spirit master. Moreover, according to their strength, they can obtain spirit beasts of different ranks. Furthermore, they will be spirit beasts that I have personally tamed. In addition, there are also a number of pills," Sima Yue added, "and after entering the Sima family, they can enjoy the same treatment as our own guards. What do you think?" "Good. Only with good treatment will people be willing to stay," the butler said. "Since you've agreed, then let's start putting up the notice," Sima Yue said. "Also, we have to speed up the construction of the Sima residence. We can't be without our own home all the time. That's not good for attracting talents." "Yes, young master. I'll leave the details to you. Once we found the manpower, we'll send someone to capture the spirit beasts. We can't always rely on the Beast Tamer Guild," Sima Yue said. "Okay, then this old servant will go and make the arrangements." The butler bowed slightly and prepared to leave. Sima Yue saw that the housekeeper had just returned and had not even had a sip of water before going back to work. She said, "This period of time is a little special. I'll have to trouble you." The butler shook his head. "It's my fortune to be able to work for the Sima family. Uncle Fu, thank you." The butler smiled as he walked out. He raised his head and looked in the direction that Sima Lai had left in and secretly said, "General, young master is really grown up." Sima Yue left the meeting hall and heaved a sigh of relief as she looked at the people who were busy building the Sima residence. Seeing that the compendium pavilion was still intact, she recalled her doubts and slowly walked over. Standing in front of the book collection pavilion, he recalled the first time Sima Lai had brought him here. With a thought, a key appeared in her hand. "Gotcha!" She inserted the key into the keyhole, and the door opened. She pushed the door open and walked in. After a few steps, the door closed automatically. She walked around the library a few times, but did not find anything special. She only found an extra box on the top floor. She opened the box and saw a model of the book collection pavilion inside. It was small and exquisite. "I didn't see this the last time I was here. Could it be that grandfather placed it here?" She took the book collection pavilion and studied it carefully. She saw a small groove at the bottom, but did not know what it was used for. She put the small pagoda back and sat on the chair in a daze. Grandfather, brother. In the past, every time she returned home, she would be accompanied by her family. Now that she was the only one who could support the family, she felt that she was so happy in the past. Thinking of the ring that the old principal had given her, she took it out from the spirit pearl. Because she was too sad before, she did not realize that this was the ring that he usually wore. The spiritual energy on it had been erased, so this ring was equivalent to an ownerless ring. Grandfather. She inserted her spiritual energy into it and looked at Sima Lai's storage. She found that although he was a spirit emperor and a general of the Dongqin kingdom, he did not have many valuable things. Actually, Sima Lai's things were considered rich in the Dongqin kingdom. It was only because she had seen many good things in the spirit pearl that she felt that Sima Lai was shabby. She scanned the spatial ring and found a book and a sound stone in an independent corner. She took out the sound stone and inserted her spiritual energy into it. The vein patterns on the stone began to move, and Sima Lai's familiar voice came out. Yue, if you can hear this, then I should not be in the Dongchan kingdom anymore. Sima Lai's voice was slightly old, and his words sounded especially heavy. There is something that I have never told you. You are actually not of the Sima family's bloodline. Do you remember that I told you that when our family fled to the Sophia mountain range, everyone else died? In the end, I was saved by someone and brought out of the Sophia mountain range. That person was your father. I originally thought that I would never see him again. I did not expect that 10 years ago, he would appear again, holding you in his arms. After he entrusted you to me, he left. He said that if you were to achieve something one day, you can use the jade pendant in the spatial ring to go to the primordial lands to find him. Sima Yue scanned the spatial ring and found that there was indeed a jade pendant placed alone. She took it out and found that the quality of the jade pendant was comparable to the one that Feng Zhixin gave her. Grandfather has always had a bad premonition in his heart. I originally wanted to let you leave early tomorrow morning, but I don't know if I can make it in time. If something happens, the Sima family will be handed over to you. The housekeeper should be able to help you deal with it. If you can't hold on, then just disperse. That book collection pavilion is a spirit tool that I accidentally obtained. I never understood what it was used for and only used it as a book collection pavilion. Now that I hand it over to you, maybe you will be able to discover the mystery inside. There is a key in the spatial ring. You will understand when you see it. Yue, no matter what, you have to be happy. This is the biggest wish of me and your brothers. I believe that this is also the wish of your birth parents. The message ended here. Sima Yue looked at the sound stone, and at this moment, her face was already filled with tears. She felt the deep love that Sima Lai had for her. She felt his worry and also his wish for her to be safe and happy. She kept the sound stone and muttered, "Grandfather, don't worry. We will meet again. I will definitely save you." Chapter 142. She took out a box from her spatial ring. This box was the same as the one that contained the small pagoda. She recognized it at a glance. When she opened the box, there was only a small piece of metal inside. When she saw the piece of metal, she immediately thought of the small groove at the base of the small tower. She took out the small pagoda, turned it upside down, and placed the metal pieces on top of it to compare. She found that they were the same size and shape. As Sima Yue did not know the function of a metal piece, she did not hastily place the metal piece into the pagoda. Instead, she picked up the pagoda and observed it closely. This is the 7-layer pagoda. Mo Sha's voice sounded, following which his figure slowly came out from the devil's snare bracelet. 7-story pagoda? What is it? Sima Yue asked. The 7-layer pagoda was the weapon of a powerful being in the past. After that powerful being died, his whereabouts were unknown. It was said that the 7-story pagoda had 7 floors, and each floor had a different function. But now, very few people know about this thing, and even fewer people know the use of each floor. Mo Sha glanced at the book collection pavilion and said, "I think the first floor should be the storage area." "Oh," Sima Yue replied faintly. Looking at Mo Sha, she asked, "Why didn't you come out that day?" Mo Sha knew that she was talking about the day Sima Lai was taken away, and he could also hear that she was blaming him. However, he did not plan to explain himself and only said a few words indifferently. "You want people to know that you have connections with the Devil Clan? Or is the Sima family related to the demon race?" It was just one sentence, but it made Sima Yue swallow all the words she wanted to say. He was right at that time. If he were to come out, then the Sima family would no longer be able to establish themselves in Dongqin country. "I understand. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have blamed you," Sima Yue said. Actually, you also know that just leaving them here isn't the solution. Perhaps because he saw that she was in a bad mood. Emo Shah comforted her. Thinking back to when he had learned how to comfort others, it was already good enough that he didn't kill anyone. It was because of this contract that he always had some inexplicable feelings for her. Sima Yue remained silent. Just like what he had said, she knew that letting them stay was only a temporary solution. Once Sima Lin and the rest returned, they would naturally send more people over. At that time, the result would still be the same. Moreover, the fight would implicate innocent people. The best way was to clearly explain what had happened back then. Only then would Sima Lai and the others be able to live openly. Didn't you decide to save them 3 years later? Since it's like this, instead of being sad here, it's better to seize the time to raise your own strength. Emo Shah said. Understand. Sima Yue said. She knew that it was not the time for her to be depressed. She let out a breath and turned her attention back to the small pagoda in front of her. Grandpa said that he doesn't know how to use this tower. Do you know? I know. Before Emo Shah could say anything, Little Spirit's voice sounded first. Sima Yue brought Emo Shah into the Spirit Pearl. Seeing Little Spirit and Ling Long together, she asked, "You know how to use it?" "I've heard of it." Little Spirit said, "This pagoda is a spirit weapon from a long time ago. Although it can't be compared to me, its level is not low either." Even if he was talking about others, Little Spirit would not forget to praise himself. "Then how do you use this?" Sima Yue asked. "No matter what method you use, this is useless." Little Spirit said. "Why?" "Because its spirit weapon has already died." Little Spirit said. "The small pagoda that you saw is now dim and lifeless. This means that the spirit weapon is no longer here." "A spirit weapon's spirit weapon can die?" Sima Yue looked at Little Spirit in shock. "Then you've lived for thousands and millions of years. Why haven't you died yet?" "Usually, spirit weapons will not die. However, this 7-layered pagoda spirit weapon is very special." Little Spirit said. "In the past, I heard that this 7-story pagoda was personally refined by the owner. When he was refining it, he put his own soul into it. Later on, he died, and that part of his soul slowly dissipated after a long time. This 7-layer pagoda is not like me. It can nourish the soul. Then doesn't this mean that it's useless?" Sima Yue asked. "That's about it." Little Spirit said. "Anyway, the storage function of the first floor can still be used. It's just that the upper floors cannot be opened." "Is there no other way?" Sima Yue was a little disappointed. This was something left behind by an ancient expert. This thing must be very powerful. "No." Little Spirit shook his head straightforwardly. "You could just use it as a space container." Sima Yue knocked Little Spirit's head and said, "With your endless space, why would I need a space container?" "That's true. Then just throw it away." Little Spirit said. Sima Yue knocked his head again. Even if this thing could not be used, it would be good to use it as a library. AI, what a pity. Who knows, there might be treasures in the upper floors. Sima Yue said. "Actually, it's not that there's no other way." Emo Shah said. "You know," Sima Yue's originally dim eyes suddenly lit up. Even the way she looked at Emo Shah was different. "I also don't know if it's possible." Emo Shah said, "Since it's something from the ancient era, I think it should be able to fuse with the Spirit Pearl." "Fuse?" Sima Yue and Little Spirit cried out in unison. Emo Shah nodded and said, "This 7-layered pagoda's spirit has dissipated, so it can't be used. If it fuses with the Spirit Pearl and reinforces the spirit, then it should be able to open the upper floors. But this requires an armament master to refine it, right?" Sima Yue said, "Where can I go to find such an armament master? Furthermore, it's under the condition that the secret is not revealed. That's even more impossible. Have you forgotten who refined this bracelet?" Emo Shah said. Sima Yue thought of the bracelet on her wrist and said, "You're saying that you're an armament master? I know how to refine armaments." Emo Shah said, "What's your grade?" "It has nothing to do with that. Anyway, it should be able to fuse the 7-layered pagoda with the Spirit Pearl." Emo Shah said. Again, Sima Yue glanced at him. Previously, when she asked him about his alchemy level, he was also like this. Would he die if he didn't act pretentiously? Then how do you do it? Sima Yue asked. Even if I told you, you wouldn't understand. Sima Yue stared at Mo Sha speechlessly. Was there anyone who looked down on her like this? This guy, he knew how to tame beasts, he knew how to refine pills, and now he was even a high-grade armament master. Everyone else thought that she was a pervert, but why did she think that this guy was the real pervert? All right, if you don't want to say, then forget it. Sima Yue said, then looked at Mo Sha seriously and asked, if the 7-layered pagoda and the spirit pearl are fused, will little spirit disappear? What if he disappears? If he does, then I'd rather give up. Little spirit, who was at the side, heard Sima Yue's words and his body shook. Chapter 143. Little Spirit and Mo Sha both knew that Sima Yue loved treasures and also felt her interest towards the 7-story pagoda. However, they never thought that she would actually choose to give it up in order to protect Little Spirit. Why? Mo Sha looked at her, somewhat unable to understand. Even if Little Spirit disappears, a new artifact spirit will be formed. It won't affect the spirit pearl's current functions. That's different. Sima Yue hugged Little Spirit and said, Little Spirit and I have already lived together for such a long time. I have already treated him as a part of my life. Even if there is another Little Spirit after the fusion, it will not be the current him. But fusing with it might increase the spirit pearl's abilities. Mo Sha said, furthermore, you can obtain the treasures in the 7-layer pagoda. Aren't you curious about the upper floors? Yes, I am very curious, but I care more about the people around me. Sima Yue said, even if I don't want those things, I want Little Spirit to be well. No regrets? Mo Sha asked. No, I don't. Little Spirit is already very heaven-defying now. It doesn't matter if he can't improve. Sima Yue kissed Little Spirit's cheek before looking at Mo Sha and saying, similarly, if I had to use you to exchange for something, I wouldn't be willing either. It's not because you're powerful or knowledgeable. It's because you're you. You're someone by my side. After Sima Yue kissed Little Spirit's face for the first time, he did not reach out to wipe the saliva off his face. He buried his face in Sima Yue's embrace and felt warmth in his heart. Although his previous masters liked him very much, no one cared about him so much. They only treated him as an artifact spirit, not a living person. No wonder Ling Long had chosen her. It wasn't because of her future achievements, but because she was a considerate person. Mo Sha lowered his eyelids slightly, hiding the emotions in his eyes. Had anyone ever cared about him this much before? No. Those people either relied on him, worshipped him, or hated him. No one had ever told him that he was him, someone by her side, and that was why she cared. Sima Yue let go of Little Spirit and picked up the small pagoda to take a look. She said with some pity, since it can't be opened, then it's better to leave it here as a library. Sure, Mo Sha suddenly said. Yeah, that's the only way. Sima Yue followed Mo Sha's words. What I'm saying is that you can fuse without changing the weapon spirit. Mo Sha said. I know, you said it's possible. You said it's possible to merge. Sima Yue finally reacted. She turned to look at Mo Sha, her eyes shining. Mo Sha nodded his head and said, yes, it's just that it'll take longer. Really? Ha! It doesn't matter if it takes a long time. Sima Yue laughed out loud. As long as it doesn't hurt Little Spirit, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Seeing the smile on her face, Mo Sha felt that he wasn't the same as before. Not long ago, he still cared about someone's thoughts, and whether or not they would be happy if he did it. Sima Yue went forward to pat him, but her hand went right through his body. Cough, cough, I forgot that you don't have body. Sima Yue retracted her hand and said, since it's possible, what do I need to prepare? What do you need me to do? You're useless. What do I need you to do? Mo Sha said, I'll arrange it. You can't use the spirit pearl during this period of time. Sima Yue's earlier excitement couldn't stop her hatred towards Mo Sha. Did he have to despise her so thoroughly? Then I'll go out and keep all the books outside. Then I'll pass them to you. Sima Yue said as she went out and kept all the books in her spatial ring. Then she picked up the 2 boxes and went out of the library. When she walked out of the door, she realized that it was already dark outside. She turned her head to look at the library and said goodbye. Then, she put the 2 boxes into her soul pearl. She didn't know what Immerse did, but the library suddenly moved. Then it slowly faded and finally disappeared. Sima Yu was shocked by the movement. It was a good thing that it was nighttime. If it was broad daylight and people saw a house disappear into thin air, she was afraid that there would be a storm. If it disappeared tomorrow, it could be said that it was cleaned up tonight. When she returned to the house, Sima Yu called out Little Roar, Immerse, Yaguang, and Linglong. After that, she took out a few necessary things, such as many medicinal ingredients, pills that she had refined in the past, and so on. After that, she took out the spirit pearl that was as ugly as a scale and handed it over to Immerse. You must not hurt little spirit, Sima Yue instructed again. Immerse didn't say anything. He glanced at Sima Yue and took the spirit pearl. Then he took the small pagoda and returned to the devil's snare bracelet. Sima Yue waited until he went in before she remembered that she had forgotten to ask him how much time he needed. If he couldn't merge successfully in 10 years, then wouldn't she be unable to use the things in the spirit pearl for 10 years? However, she thought that even if she asked, Immerse might not tell her. He would either ignore her or look down on her. So she thought about it and decided to forget about it. Okay, Yaguang and Little Roar, you guys can only stay in the contract space for the rest of the time. Sima Yue said. Yes, master. Yaguang replied straightforwardly. Little Roar came in front of Sima Yue and said, Yu, why don't I just stay outside? The contract space is too boring. There's no point in staying inside. No. Sima Yue first kept Little Roar back into the contract space. Then, Yaguang obediently went in by himself. Linglong, you can stay in the space ring for a while. Sima Yue said as she kept Linglong into the space ring. Looking at Little Rock's round eyes, Sima Yue said helplessly, You don't have the contract space, so you can only stay outside. But don't reveal your strength in front of others, understand? Little Rock nodded and flew to the roof. After settling these matters, the housekeeper hurriedly ran over and found her, saying, Young master, something happened. What happened? Sima Yue hurriedly opened the door and asked when she heard that something had happened. Young master, the library suddenly disappeared, the housekeeper said anxiously. When Sima Yue heard that, she relaxed and said, That's nothing, I did it. The housekeeper was stunned. That was a spirit tool that grandfather left behind. I just kept it. Sima Yue said, Get someone to build another library when they're building the house. Although the housekeeper did not understand, since she said that it was nothing, he stuffed his heart back into his stomach. After the housekeeper left, Sima Yue closed the door. Thinking that she had not read the book that Sima Lai had placed together with the Soundstone, she gave up on cultivating and took out the book. Raging Inferno / What book is this? Sima Yue looked at the name on the book and did not know why Sima Lai had placed this book together with the Soundstone. Suddenly, she thought of the flaming broadsword that was formed when Sima Lai and Sima Kai fought. Could it be that this book was for learning that technique? Chapter 144. Sima Yue flipped open the Raging Inferno / and saw that the title page stated that it was a profound level-high rank spiritual skill. It also stated that one could not cultivate it unless they were at the Spirit King level. It's actually a high-grade, profound rank spiritual skill, Sima Yue said in surprise, but you can only practice it when you're a spiritual king, so all I can do now is watch. I didn't expect Grandpa to have a high-grade, profound level spiritual skill. No wonder it was so powerful. In the beginning, spirit masters could only rely on absorbing and condensing spirit energy to compete. Now, they could only condense small fireballs or drizzle. If they wanted more power, they would have to use spirit techniques. Previously, when Feng Zhixing was teaching them, he said that spiritual techniques were divided into 4 levels: heaven, earth, black, and yellow. Each level was further divided into low level, mid-level, and high level. The power of each level of spiritual technique was as different as heaven and earth. Once a spirit master became a great spirit master, they would be able to cultivate spirit skills. The higher the level of the spirit skill, the harder it would be to cultivate it. Currently, most of the spirit skills on the continent were yellow level. High yellow level spirit skills were very rare. Of course, Feng Zhixing was only talking about the Dongqing country. To other places, the yellow rank was nothing. Generally, great spirit masters are able to cultivate spirit skills. I didn't think that this would require spirit kings to learn. It seems that cultivating this requires a lot of spirit energy, so its power should be stronger than others of the same level. When I become a spirit king, I can give it a try. Sima Yue put away the fire slash and began to cultivate. Too many things had happened recently. Although Little Spirit had taken the initiative to help her cultivate so that her progress would not fall behind, there was not much progress. If she wanted to save Sima Lai and the others, she needed to have sufficient strength and a thorough plan. That Sima Lin isn't even a spirit paragon yet, but he's already so powerful. The Sima family definitely has someone even more powerful who might even be a spirit paragon. If I want to save Grandpa and the others, I have to improve myself as soon as possible. She was currently only a level 6 spiritual master and could faintly touch the barrier of a level 7 spiritual master. However, there were still great spiritual master, spiritual king, spiritual grandmaster, and then spiritual emperor. Some people spent their entire lives to become spirit grandmasters, but she spent less than a year to become a level 6 spiritual master. She still had 3 years left. She wondered how far she would go. Time passed in the blink of an eye. She had been cultivating for 2 days. Because the big plan had been settled, no one came to disturb her these 2 days. 2 days later, the general's mansion sent out an announcement to recruit a group of people. The benefits were that if they joined, they would receive a spiritual beast personally trained by Sima Yue, as well as a number of pills for cultivation. In the future, they would receive the same treatment as the imperial bodyguards. The conditions were that they had to be at least a great spirit master and work for the Sima family for 10 years. For 10 years, they would only accept or leave. The news of Sima Yue taming the spirit beasts in front of everyone had long since spread throughout the imperial capital and the surrounding cities. Even some of the more remote places knew about this. While everyone was sighing at her abnormal talent, they were even more interested in the spirit beast that she had tamed, thinking that it would be great if they could get their hands on one. Now that the Sima family's announcement was out, there was an endless stream of people coming to sign up. The housekeeper, who originally thought that not many people would respond, immediately became busy. On the first day, they did not reject anyone who was at least a great spirit master. On the second day, they began to filter people. Those who were too weak or had bad character were directly eliminated. Very quickly, the number of people in the Sima family doubled. The housekeeper left a portion of people to protect the Sima family, and the rest were sent to catch spiritual beasts. Very quickly, the Chu family's goods arrived. The spiritual beasts from the Beast Tamers Guild were also sent over. Coupled with Sima Yue's reputation, the Sima family shop changed from its previous sluggish state. There was an endless stream of customers. Those who had designs on the Sima family all suppressed their thoughts. Whoever dared to touch the Sima family now would have to first consider whether they were able to go against the Capital Institute and the Beast Tamers Guild. Many insiders sighed. They had never seen a power develop so quickly. It had developed in just 1 or 2 months. However, thinking of Sima Yue's abnormal talent in refining elixirs and taming spiritual beasts, such a situation was within reason. Moreover, the Sima family had previously been unable to do certain things because of Sima Lai's status as general. Now that there were no such restrictions, they could do more. The housekeeper had originally wanted to let the people who had just entered meet Sima Yue, but seeing that she was in closed-door cultivation, he gave up on that idea. After a few days, Sima Yue felt that she was about to advance in level while cultivating. She had originally wanted to continue cultivating after coming out of closed-door cultivation. After a day, she successfully broke through to become a level 7 spiritual master. After successfully advancing in level, Sima Yue opened her eyes. Seeing the stars that represented her strength slowly dissipate, she sighed and said, "The speed of advancement is a little slow. But at this rate, how can I save grandfather and the rest? Looks like I have to think of another way to increase my strength." Because she had been in a cultivating position for a few days, her body was a little stiff. She got off the bed and moved around a little. When she opened the door, she was stunned. Before she went into closed-door cultivation, it was still a piece of flat land. How did it suddenly become a mansion? "Young master, you're out of closed-door cultivation." Chun Jian and Yun Yu were outside. When they heard the sound of Sima Yue opening the door, they smiled and welcomed her. "Chun Jian, how long have I been in closed-door cultivation?" Sima Yue couldn't believe her eyes. Could it be that she had been in closed-door cultivation for a long time? "Young master, you've been in closed-door cultivation for 10 days. Chun Jian replied. "It's only been 10 days. How is the house already finished?" Sima Yue asked. Yin Yu smiled and said, "Young master, ever since you publicly tamed a beast and became a beast tamer, many people came to help build the Sima residence. That's why the speed has increased by a lot. Even if that was the case, wasn't it a little too fast?" "Young master, your courtyard has already been tidied up. Do you want to take a look?" Chun Jian asked. "Okay." Sima Yue nodded. This temporary house hadn't been torn down yet, because Sima Yue was in closed-door cultivation. However, the courtyard in front had already been tidied up. Sima Yue followed Chun Jian and Yun Yu to her courtyard. Because she was the only owner now, her courtyard was the main courtyard. The house was being built very quickly. However, the construction wasn't sloppy. Sima Yue looked around and saw that the construction of the house was not bad. The remaining decorations and gardens were still being built slowly. Sima Yue looked around and nodded in satisfaction. Only with a house would it feel like a home. When the housekeeper heard that Sima Yue had come out of closed-door cultivation, he reported to her about the past few days. He heard that the number of people in the Sima family had suddenly increased by a lot. Moreover, there were many spirit kings and spirit overlords who came. Even she was surprised by this lineup. Right now, she could only imagine how many spirit beasts she would have to tame in order to meet the requirements. However, the good thing was that taming spirit beasts was like cultivating to her. It wouldn't be too tiring and could even increase her spirit energy. Therefore, after thinking about it, she didn't think much of it. Instead, she was secretly looking forward to it. Chapter 145. After settling the family matters, Sima Yue went to school. She had not graduated yet, and the principal knew that he had given her some time off. Seeing that the Sima family was on the right track, she went back to continue her studies. In fact, for the current her, there wasn't much she could learn here, but she didn't want to give up halfway. The Sima family also needed her attention, so she didn't plan to leave for the time being. When he returned to the dormitory, Wei Ziqi and the others had already gone to class. There was not a single person in the dormitory. Thinking back to the last time he was here, he was still a young master who did not need to consider anything. The next time he was here, he had already become the head of the family. I'm sure no one has ever seen the head of the household come to school. After tidying up the house, it was already noon. Remembering that she hadn't eaten for a long time, she also wanted to thank everyone for their concern and help during this period of time. So she went to the kitchen to cook a few dishes. I knew it. Just by smelling this fragrance, I knew that Yue had returned. Fatty Chu's voice could be heard even before he arrived. His nose had always been very sensitive when it came to food. The four of them went to the kitchen and saw Sima Yue sitting at the table waiting for them. They walked over and sat down to eat. "Have you settled the matter?" Wei Ziqi asked. "Everything is almost on track. The rest will need to be done slowly." Sima Yue said that the most important thing now was to tame the hundreds of spirit beasts. However, the spirit beasts had not arrived yet, so she did not have to rush. "The speed at which your house was being built really blinded our eyes. We haven't gone out for a few days, and when we went out yesterday, we discovered that your house had already been built." Fatty Chu picked up a piece of meat and placed it in his mouth as he spoke. "Let's not talk about you guys." Even I was shocked. Sima Yue said, "I went into seclusion for a few days. When I came out, I saw that the flat ground had turned into a courtyard. It It was horrifying. I didn't know that houses could be repaired so quickly. I heard that it was because there were many people working together. That's why it was so fast. Wei Ziqi said, "This is also good. You've recruited so many new people, so you need a place to make arrangements." Yes. Sima Yue nodded and asked, "How have you been?" "The academy is pretty much the same as before, but now, when we walk in the academy, we often meet some girls who come looking for us. Extremely annoying." Wei Ziqi said. "Why?" Sima Yue blinked. "Could it be that both of you are in love? Did someone confess to you? It's not that our peach blossoms have blossomed. It's your peach blossoms that have blossomed." Fatty Chu said, "Those people didn't come to find us. They came to find you. Every time you look for us, it's to ask when you're coming to the academy what you like and what kind of girls you like. Seriously, you're obviously a girl. Why are you so popular with women?" Sima Yue was speechless as she watched Fatty Chu grumble. She never thought that she would become a celebrity in the academy. Yes, he was also famous in the past. However, he was famous for being trash in the past. Now, he was famous for being a genius. You don't know how ferocious those girls are. In order to get news about you, they really do whatever it takes. Wei Ziqi was a little scared as he spoke. Ouyang and Bei Gong are still all right. One is an ice mountain, while the other is a girl. Others don't dare to get close to them, but Fatty Chu and I are miserable. We've helped you collect a bunch of love letters. Do you want to read them? No. Sima Yue quickly shook her head. She didn't want to read those boring things. You don't have to care about those people. Bei Gong Tang said, "As long as you don't care, they won't bother you." "I know," Sima Yue said. "All right, Yue, do you plan to continue studying in the academy? How are you going to manage your family's matters?" Fatty Chu asked. "I've already handed the matters over to Uncle Fu and the others to handle. I just have to go home once every few days. If anything happens at home, I'll take leave from the academy. Anyway, this semester isn't long. When this semester ends, I'll apply to graduate." "You're graduating?" Sima Yue replied. "In these 3 years, I have to go somewhere else to raise my strength. Here in the academy, it's too slow to raise my strength." Wei Ziqi and the others all knew about her 3-year promise, so they knew the pressure she was currently shouldering. "Then what about the Sima family's matters?" Wei Ziqi asked. "A few months' time is enough for us to consolidate our power. When the time comes, we'll hand the matters over to Uncle Fu and the others to handle. I'll get people to send the things we need over regularly." Sima Yue said. "Where do you plan to go?" Bei Gong Tang asked. Sima Yue was silent for a while before saying, "I'll go to Sophia Mountain Range. I'll go there to gain experience and then directly leave from there." "Didn't you say that there's a barrier? How are you going to leave?" Fatty Chu asked. Little Roar said that those arrays and whatnot are useless. Sima Yue said, "When the time comes, I'll get him to open the barrier." Ouyang Fei furrowed his eyebrows and said, "The spirit beasts in Sophia Mountain Range are much stronger than Pu Luo Mountain Range. If you go there, won't it be too dangerous?" "Danger makes people grow faster." Sima Yue said, "I believe that danger can develop a person's potential and raise their strength. All right, if you stay in the academy, your strength will indeed increase a little slower. It's better to go outside." Bei Gong Tang said. That's right." Sima Yue gave a thought and took out 4 jade bottles, handing them over to the 4 of them, saying, "These are the things that I promised you." Everyone received the jade bottles and opened them. Seeing that there were 2 pills inside, they asked, "What pill is this?" "100 Revolutions pill," Sima Yue said. When Bei Gong Tang heard the name of the 100 Revolutions pill, her eyes lit up, asking, "Is this really the 100 Revolutions pill?" "Yes," Sima Yue said. "I originally wanted to refine other pills, but the person who refined the pill for me said that the 100 Revolutions pill was a little better, so I refined this. But I already took a golden snake fruit. This doesn't belong to me." Bei Gong Tang said. "Don't be so calculative. That golden snake fruit was for Mengji, and this 100 Revolutions pill is for you. I think that Ziqi and the others won't have any objections. Furthermore, you also need this," Sima Yue said. Bei Gongtang looked at Sima Yue, and the corner of her mouth lifted slightly, saying, "Thank you, Yue." It was rare for Wei Ziqi and the others to see Bei Gongtang so interested in a pill, so they were also curious about the 100 Revolutions pill. "Yue, what kind of pill is this 100 Revolutions pill?" Fatty Chu took the pill and wanted to stuff it into his mouth, but was pulled back by Sima Yue, saying, "You don't even know what it is. Aren't you afraid that it's poison?" "Ah, didn't you say that it's a pill that increases my strength?" Fatty Chu said. Sima Yue glared at Fatty Chu. This guy was just focused on eating and didn't even listen to what she said. Chapter 146. Fatty Chu saw that everyone was looking at him with disdain and coughed twice before saying, "Didn't you say that you were going to refine pills for us to raise our cultivation? Why, this isn't it." Sima Yue smacked Fatty Chu's head, not wanting to talk to him anymore. "Bei Gong, you know about the 100 Revolutions pill?" Ouyang Fei asked. "Yeah." Bei Gongtang said, "I've heard people talk about it before, but I've never seen it before. What kind of pill is this?" Wei Ziqi asked. "The 100 Revolutions pill. It's also known as the tendon and marrow cleansing pill. You'll know what it does when you hear its name." Bei Gongtang said. "Tendon and marrow cleansing pill." Ouyang Fei and the other two cried out at the same time. They didn't know what the 100 Revolutions pill was, but they knew what the tendon and marrow cleansing pill was. Yes, the effect of this pill is to cleanse your muscles and marrow, changing your physique and increasing the speed of your cultivation. Sima Yue said, "Oh my God, Yu, where did you get this pill from?" Fatty Chu patted his chest, obviously scared out of his wits. Coincidentally, that person knew this pill formula and coincidentally used the golden snake fruit. He thought that this pill would be better in the long run, so he refined this. Sima Yue explained, "But I've never tried it before, so you can give it to me. Actually, this can also increase your strength." Bei Gongtang said, "This can increase one's strength? He didn't tell me." Sima Yue was surprised. Maybe in that person's eyes, this increase in strength is nothing compared to long-term cultivation. Bei Gongtang said, "When the waste in the body is expelled, one's strength will increase. I've seen someone take it once, so I know that. But at that time, she only ate one." Bei Gongtang's expression wasn't too good when she said this. It seemed like the person who took the pill didn't have a good relationship with her. That person said that each person can only take 2 of these pills at most. More than that won't have any effect, so I prepared 2 pills for each of you. Sima Yue said, "You can take them when you have the time." "Yue, don't you have one?" Wei Ziqi asked. "This pill is useless to me." Sima Yue said, "Due to some fortuitous encounters, my body has already been forged. Even if I eat this, it's useless. Why don't you all take it together? I can also protect you." "Then let's do it tonight." Ouyang Fei said. He really wanted to know what they would be like after their meridians and marrow cleansing. Bei Gongtang and the others nodded, agreeing to Ouyang Fei's suggestion. They were also curious about the 100 Revolutions pill. The process is a little painful, but you definitely can't faint. Otherwise, it will affect the effects of the pill, Bei Gongtang reminded. She remembered that when those people gave the 100 Revolutions pill to that woman, she couldn't take it and fainted. Later on, she heard from her family that the effects weren't very good. "Yes, we will." Fatty Chu nodded. Thus, in the afternoon, Wei Ziqi and the others cultivated in their own houses, allowing their mental states to reach their peak. When it was late at night, they all opened their eyes at the same time. The 4 of them opened the door and confirmed that they were ready. They greeted Sima Yue in the courtyard and went back to their own houses. Tonight, they only needed to eat 100 Revolutions pill. However, it was said that different people with different innate talents would have different effects. The amount of time needed would also be different. Sima Yue waited in the courtyard. She heard painful groans from the house and didn't know what they were going through. After a while, Fatty Chu was the first to run out of the house. He dashed towards the toilet. Next, Wei Ziqi ran out, followed by Ouyang Fei and Bei Gongtang. Sima Yue watched as the 4 of them ran to the toilet, then ran back to the house. After a while, they ran to the toilet again, then back to the house, and ran to the toilet again. Each of them went 7 or 8 times. Sha didn't add croton to the pills. Why are they all having diarrhea? Sima Yue sat in the courtyard and watched them run around. She was happy. However, towards the end, she couldn't be happy anymore. This was because every person who passed by her had a disgusting smell. She would smell it every time they passed by. I can't take it anymore. Little Peng on her shoulder wailed. He flapped his wings and flew to the roof. Sima Yue also moved the stool further away. The smell was really too disgusting. Towards the end, the interval between their runs to the toilet became longer. The four of them ran back and forth until the middle of the night. After that, the light of their advancement lit up their houses. 3 times, 3 times, 2 times, 3 times. The others all advanced 3 levels. Only Fatty has advanced 2 levels. However, it's still not bad. Sima Yue counted the number of times they advanced. She realized that they were all very talented and had advanced quite a bit. When the sky started to brighten, Fatty Chu came out of the house first. Yue, I advanced 2 levels. Did you see that? Seeing Sima Yue, Fatty Chu ran over excitedly. He reached out to hug her, but she blocked him with a kick. Sima Yue pinched her nose and said, I saw that you advanced 2 levels. Don't be too excited. Go and clean yourself up first. Fatty Chu looked down and realized that his body was covered in filth. It was black and covered his entire body. It even emitted a disgusting smell. A dash. Only then did he regain his senses from the excitement of advancing. He hurriedly ran to take a bath. Soon after, Wei Ziqi also came out. However, he didn't run over. Instead, he went to take a bath. Ouyang Fei was next. He also went to take a bath. There was only one bath in the dormitory. Because Fatty Chu and the others had snatched it first, Bei Gong Tang couldn't take a bath when she came out. Bei Gong, I prepared some water for you. You can go to the toilet and take a bath first. If it's not enough, I'll add more water for you. Sima Yue called out to Bei Gong Tang. Sima Yue saw the 2 wooden buckets behind Sima Yue. She didn't even have time to thank her before she filled the buckets and went to the toilet. She couldn't stand the smell on her body any longer. Sima Yue didn't think that Bei Gong Tang would use 6 whole buckets of water. She didn't know how much filth they had excreted. Thinking about how the few of them who loved to be clean were covered in filth, she couldn't help but shudder. When everyone had finished cleaning up, the sky was already bright. Everyone was still sniffing their bodies to see if there was any stench left. They didn't know if it was a psychological effect, but everyone still felt that there was a smell on their bodies. Yue, can you smell if there's any smell on our bodies? Fatty Chu came over and said. Sima Yue kicked him away and said, My nose has already been affected by your smell last night. Don't come near me today. Do you have to be so disgusted? Fatty Chu stood a meter away from her with a face full of grievance. Chapter 147. So what if I despise you? Sima Yue looked at his little wife's aggrieved expression and wanted to tease him. What else can I do? I can't beat you in a fight. I can't scold you. I can't bite you, right? Fatty Chu said. Sima Yue looked at him and smiled happily. I didn't think that the 100 Revolutions pill would be so effective. I feel that my body is much more relaxed now. It's not as heavy as before. Wei Ziqi said. Of course, you excreted so much filth last night, and even pooped so much. It would be weird if it wasn't light. Fatty Chu said, Oh right, how many levels did you guys go up? 3rd level, 3rd level, 3rd level. The 3 of them replied at the same time. What? You all went up by 3 levels. Fatty Chu cried out in surprise. Why am I the only one who went up by 2 levels? Sob sob, I originally thought that it was already pretty good that I went up by 2 levels. Turns out I'm still the one who dropped the tail. Ouyang Fei came over and patted his shoulder, sincerely saying, My condolences. Then he walked past him and left. Sima Yue and Wei Ziqi burst out laughing. They never knew that Ouyang Fei had this side to him. Fatty, I think it's because you usually eat too much and there's too much waste in your body. That's why it's stopping you from advancing. Sima Yue said seriously, Look, you went to the toilet the most last night. Your body stinks the most. That's why you have to avoid certain foods and eat less, understand? After she finished speaking, she turned and left. I think that Yue is right. Wei Ziqi patted Fatty Chu's shoulder and walked past him. Bei Gongtang walked over with a smile in her eyes and said faintly, "Eat less." Then she also walked away. You guys can't bully people like that. Fatty Chu was teased by everyone and chased after them with a stifled heart. On the way to the classroom, those people saw Sima Yue appear and ran over to take a look. But because they saw her cold expression, they all stopped, and no one went up to hit on her. When they were about to reach the classroom, a girl finally gathered the courage to confess to her. "Yue, this is a little gift I prepared for you. Please accept it." Sima Yue took the box and said calmly, "Thank you." When the girl saw that Sima Yue did not reject her gift, she was extremely excited and said, "Yue, I like you. Can I be your girlfriend?" Girlfriend? Sima Yue did not think that this girl would be so open-minded. She pulled Bei Gongtang over and kissed her on the cheek, saying, "But I already have a girlfriend. If you want to climb up, you have to defeat her first." That girl glanced at Bei Gongtang and saw that she was glaring at her unkindly. She felt her hair stand on end. Who in the academy didn't know that Bei Gongtang was a battle maniac? She was strong and liked to fight. Many people went to challenge her and were beaten to the ground by her. She was a weak girl and also a love rival. She was afraid that she would be beaten to a pulp by her. "Ahem, since you have a girlfriend, then I won't disturb you." The girl turned around and ran away. Sima Yue looked at the people around her and hugged Bei Gongtang's shoulder as they went to the classroom. When they returned to the classroom, the students looked at Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang in a different light. It was no wonder that Bei Gongtang had a cold expression towards everyone except for Sima Yue. It turned out that they were already a couple. Sitting in her seat, Bei Gongtang slapped Sima Yue's hand away and said, "Next time, you have to pay me for my help." "Hee hee, why do you have to pay me? Why don't you just follow me and be my girlfriend?" Sima Yue said with a smile. Bei Gongtang glared at Sima Yue. Could it be that this girl's heart was a little perverted from pretending to be a man? Thus, everyone knew that Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang were a couple. Whoever wanted to be her girlfriend would have to fight with Bei Gongtang first. Although it broke the hearts of many girls, at least no one came to disturb her and Wei Ziqi. At night, Sima Yue protected them again as the four of them ate the second 100 Revolutions pill. Because they had already removed most of the impurities in their bodies yesterday, they did not run to the toilet as often as last night. Of course, there was one exception. Sima Yue sat in the courtyard and saw Fatty Chu come out to have diarrhea again. She laughed and teased. "Fatty, I already said that you usually eat too much. Look, you're the only one who keeps running to the toilet. This shows that there's still a lot of impurities in your body." Fatty Chu stared speechlessly at Sima Yue and quickly ran to the toilet. However, Fatty Chu's diarrhea had its benefits. Tonight, no one else advanced in rank, but he alone advanced by a level. On the second day, when he said that he had advanced in rank, he was extremely happy. Although he was late by a night, at least his talent was about the same as theirs. After eating the 100 Revolutions pill, the impurities in their bodies were removed. Their meridians were much smoother than before, and they were much wider. Their cultivation speed was much faster than before. Seeing their changes, she thought of the 100 Revolutions pill that she had prepared for Sima Yue and the others. Her eyes were slightly downcast. The days that followed slowly went on the right track. When she was in the sect, she mainly studied and cultivated. She would go back to the clan when she had something to do. The spirit beasts that she had promised to those people were also in place. She studied in the sect during the day and went home at night to tame the beasts, cultivate, and settle the clan's affairs. After 2 months passed like this, Sima Yue finished her studies and applied to graduate from the sect. When she received her graduation certificate, she thought of Sima Lai's original intention of sending her to the sect. He did not want her to achieve any results in the sect. He just felt that she had to experience what others experienced. When she packed her things and left the dormitory, Fatty Chu and the others came to send her off. Thinking that she would not be in the dormitory in the future, everyone's eyes were filled with reluctance. When she returned to the Sima family, Sima Yue arranged everything properly. She refined pills for a few days consecutively. She refined everything that she needed for a period of time and tamed the spirit beasts. She also got the steward to prepare to recruit alchemists and beast tamers. If she was not around, the supply would not be cut off. The steward knew that once Sima Yue left, he did not know when she would return. He took note of everything that she said. A few days later, she handed an interspatial ring to the steward. After that, she packed her things and walked towards Sophia Mountain. Because the imperial capital did not have a teleportation array directly to Sophia Mountain, she could only sit on Yaguang to go to a nearby city. Just as she stepped out of the city gates, she was stunned. Under a big tree outside the city, Fatty Chu was sitting under the tree. Wei Ziqi was leaning against the tree trunk. Bei Gong Tang was standing in front, and Ouyang Fei was hugging his sword and sitting on a branch above. "What are you guys doing here?" Sima Yue looked at the four of them in shock. Chapter 148. How is it? I told you that you would walk here. Fatty Chu said proudly. Sima Yue walked over and said, Aren't you supposed to be on a mission? Why are you here? Ouyang Fei jumped down from the tree and said, We just applied for graduation. We are no longer students. You guys have graduated? We felt that we wouldn't be able to learn anything more in the academy, so we applied to graduate. Bei Gong Tang said, As for me, I've already discussed it with my clan. I want to go with you and try it out. Fatty Chu said, So, I'll be following you from now on. You have to bring me along. Follow me? Right, I'll follow you. Fatty Chu said, You should know that I don't plan to come back from Sophia Mountain Range this time. I will train in the mountains for 2 years before going outside. If I don't do well, I might die outside. Sima Yue shook her head, not wanting Fatty Chu to follow her. Anyway, I've already told my family. They also know that I might not be coming back. But it's better to go out than to stay in this small place of exile. I also want to see the outside world. Fatty Chu said. Sima Yue was speechless and turned her gaze towards Wei Ziqi. Wei Ziqi shrugged his shoulders. I have also returned home. Originally, my parents did not allow me to leave, but my uncle said that going outside is better than staying here. Furthermore, following you, I will definitely be able to go further. Even if I have to give up my life for this, it would be worth it. She didn't expect him to have the same intention. Sima Yue looked at Bei Gong Tang and Ouyang Fei. The former said, Anyway, I won't be staying here forever. I still have my revenge. Since I have to leave sooner or later, I might as well go with you guys. Anyway, you guys are the ones who taught me teamwork. There was no need to mention Ouyang Fei. He used to be a citizen of the South Yu Kingdom. No one knew what he had experienced before, but he had escaped here. But one day, he would have to return. Have you really thought it through? Sima Yue looked at them, especially Zi, Qi, and Fatty. Once we leave, it will be very difficult for us to return. I've thought it through. Let's go. Fatty Chu dragged his round body and climbed onto Ye Guang's back. Sima Yue grabbed him by the collar and threw him down. Go sit on your own spirit beast. Don't press down on Ye Guang. Fatty Chu knew that Sima Yue's words meant that she had agreed, so he called out his spirit beast and sat on it. Wei Ziqi and the others also called out their own spirit beasts, and the 5 of them rode their contracted beasts towards the city in front of them, taking the teleportation array there to the Sophia Mountain Range. 2 days later, they arrived at the foot of the Sophia Mountain Range. Looking at the towering mountain, they all had a feeling of looking up. Ouyang, are you sure the environment here is the best? Fatty Chu looked at the many steep cliffs and looked suspiciously at Ouyang Fei. Because the 5 of them were strong, they decided to find a place with a better environment where the spirit beasts were weaker and gradually improve their strength. Because Ouyang Fei had stayed in the Sophia Mountain Range for a period of time before going to the imperial capital, Ouyang Fei led them into the mountain. Ouyang Fei glanced at Fatty Chu and said indifferently, Why don't you do it? Fatty Chu quickly waved his hands. What a joke. He had never been to this place before. How could he lead the way for everyone? Ouyang, is this the place you came from? Sima Yue asked. Yes, the 4 great empires are on the other side of the mountain range. However, This mountain range is over 1,000 li wide. The closer to the center, the higher the level of the spirit beasts. There are many spirit beasts here. Ouyang Fei said, "It's so dangerous." "Ouyang, how did you come in?" Fatty Chu looked at Ouyang Fei with admiration. "In order to protect me, many people died." Ouyang Fei was unwilling to say more and changed the topic. "Let's rest at the foot of the mountain tonight and check if we have everything. We will enter the mountain tomorrow." "All right, let's set up camp at the foot of the mountain," Sima Yue said. The few of them found an empty space and took out their tents, starting to set them up. There are traces of people staying here," Fatty Chu shouted when he saw the nail marks on the tents. "There are definitely more treasures in this mountain than in Pu Luo mountain range. There are definitely many people who want to enter the mountain to hunt for treasures. It's just that their strength is not high enough, so there are few people who enter the mountain. However, it's not like there aren't any." Wei Ziqi said, "If our strength was high enough, we would also choose to enter here instead of Pu Luo mountain range." Fatty Chu thought that it was true. There were many people who went to Pu Luo mountain range, so there were relatively few precious things. They might as well try their luck here. Furthermore, those who are strong are more willing to come here to gain experience. Sima Yue added, "Fatty Chu, when we go outside, we will see many things that we haven't seen before. If you make a fuss about everything, we won't recognize you when we go out." "How embarrassing," Bei Gong Tang said with a smile. "Bei Gong, you're still cuter than the ice beauty from before." Fatty Chu grumbled when he heard the ridicule in Bei Gong Tang's words. After setting up the tents, Sima Yue made dinner for everyone. Because the spirit pearl could not be used yet, she prepared some vegetables and placed them in her interspatial ring. Furthermore, they were all vegetables and did not have any meat. After eating dinner, everyone returned to their own tents to cultivate. They realized that the spirit chi here was denser than other places. If they cultivated here, their strength would increase even faster. Sima Yue sat on the bed and looked at the devil's snare bracelet. Ever since Mo Sha took the spirit pearl and the 7-layered pagoda and entered 3 months ago, there had been no news of him. There was not even the slightest bit of movement. She did not know how they were doing inside, did not know how the spirit pearl and the 7-layered pagoda were fusing together, and how Mo Sha was doing now. However, every night, she would still take out the golden snake fruit tree and place it beside her hand, letting it near the bracelet. This was because she realized that Mo Sha seemed to still be absorbing the spirit chi emitted by the golden snake fruit tree. Sighing in her heart, she took out the golden snake fruit tree and placed it beside her bed. Because it could only be placed in her interspatial ring during the day and could only be taken out at night to breathe, its current condition was extremely bad. She had specially opened a hole in her tent to allow the moonlight to shine in. Every night, the golden snake fruit tree would only recover a little after the moonlight shone in. If this continues, I can only plant you back into nature. Sima Yue helplessly and painfully looked at the golden snake fruit tree. Many of the leaves on it had already withered and turned yellow. Mo Sha, how much longer do you need to complete it? Sigh. She sat cross-legged on the bed and once again entered her cultivation mode. In these 2 months, because she had tamed many spirit beasts, she had received quite a bit of spirit chi. Adding on the fact that she had increased the amount of time she spent cultivating, she had advanced to an 8th level spirit master in a little more than a month. When she left the imperial capital, she had already faintly touched the barrier to the 9th level. Chapter 149. After cultivating for a night, she woke up early the next morning and sighed as she kept the golden snake fruit tree back into her spatial ring. Long after tidying up the tents, the others also got up. After a simple wash-up, everyone started to head towards the mountains. Along the way, they saw quite a few precious medicinal ingredients. Even if people passed by, they did not pick them. Those that were treated as treasures in the outside world were now completely abandoned here. Because they were not here to search for treasures. After sighing for a while, they continued to walk up. Their goal was to find spirit beasts to train and increase their strength, not to pick medicinal ingredients. After walking for half a day, they did not see a single spirit beast. Everyone's tense nerves began to relax. We haven't seen any spirit beast for so long. This place is not as scary as the rumors say. Fatty Chu said. Fatty Chu had not finished speaking when a spirit beast's roar rang out. Very quickly, a fanged boar groaned as it appeared in front of everyone. Damn, this is a high-level spirit beast? A fanged boar can also grow to this level. Fatty Chu saw that the fanged boar did not give him any face and rolled up his sleeves, preparing to fight it out. The fanged boar outside that can grow to the 5th or 6th level is already not bad. This fanged boar actually grew to the 8th level. It's really mysterious. Wei Ziqi said. The spiritual qi here is much denser than in other places, so the spirit beast levels are much higher. Ouyang Fei said. This place is only near the outside world, and it already has such dense spiritual qi. Then how dense is the spiritual qi in the outside world? Fatty Chu sighed. That's a density that you can't even imagine. Ouyang Fei said, once you go outside, you won't want to cultivate in this place anymore. Is it that exaggerated? Fatty Chu's eyes widened. The people here and outside have similar innate talents. Why is it that when compared to people of the same age, the strength of those people is higher by a few levels? It's because the spiritual qi outside is so dense that it shortens the cultivation time. Ouyang Fei said, it's that good. Then when we go out, will our strength also increase quickly? It's not just fast, it should be extremely fast. Ouyang Fei said, our talents are also very powerful outside. If we continue to live in that kind of environment, I think everyone's speed of advancement will be very fast. When the fang boar saw that not only was it scared, but it was also talking and laughing, it was enraged and charged towards Fatty Chu, who was laughing the most happily. F***CK. You know that I'm the weakest, so you attacked me. If I don't show you my power, do you think I'm a sick cat? Fatty Chu roared and raised his fist to meet the fang boar. Spirit beasts had thick skin and could withstand beatings. Seeing Fatty Chu go up like that, Sima Yue was worried that he would be injured and wanted to help, but was stopped by Bei Gong Tang. Fatty's battle prowess isn't what it looks like. It'll be fine. Sima Yue knew that they were often together, and Bei Gong Tang should know better than her. If they were not anxious, then Fatty Chu should not have any problems either. Fatty ran towards the fang boar. Just as the man and the beast were about to collide, Fatty's fat body nimbly dodged to the side of the fang boar and viciously punched it in the head. That punch landed right on the fang boar's eye, causing it to cry out in pain. It turned around and charged towards Fatty Chu once again. This time, Fatty Chu did not dodge to the side. He stretched out both hands to grab the fang boar's head and quickly retreated backwards. After retreating 20 to 30 steps, he stopped and his body sank, not retreating any further. Fatty Chu roared loudly, grabbing the fang boar's tusks and flung it to the side. The fang boar's fat body was actually moved by him. TSK, this fatty's strength has improved. Sima Yue saw that Fatty Chu actually chose to fight with the fang boar and was not at a disadvantage, and exclaimed in surprise. Fatty Chu had previously obtained a book on training his body from his clan. After that, he started training his body. Wei Ziqi said, then why haven't I seen him slim down? Sima Yue looked at Fatty Chu's body. If they had not said anything, she really would not have been able to tell that Fatty Chu was training his body. When Fatty Chu, who was fighting with the fang boar, heard Sima Yue's words, he almost could not catch his breath and threw the fang boar away. Cough, cough. I won't say any more. You can continue. Sima Yue saw that her words had affected him and coughed twice, saying this. Fatty Chu glared at Sima Yue and saw that the fang boar was running towards him. His body rolled to the side, avoiding the fang boar's hooves. The fang boar moved its hooves away and stomped a hole in the ground. Fatty Chu saw the hole and thought that it was a good thing that he had avoided it. Otherwise, he would have been turned into minced meat. Damn it, you actually used such a vicious kick. Grandpa, I will definitely roast your hooves and eat them today." After he finished speaking, he flipped himself up from the ground and pounced towards the fang boar. He circled to the side, and with a leap, he sat on the fang boar's back. 1 punch. "Who asked you to hit Grandpa?" 2 punches. "Who asked you to step on Grandpa?" 3 punches. "I'll smash your pig head." 4 punches. "I'll break your tusks." 5 punches. Seeing Fatty Chu land punch after punch on the fang boar's body, and hearing him say his sentence with every punch, Sima Yue and the others could not help but twitch their mouths. They really felt sorry for his hand. They did not know if it would be very painful to hit that thick skin. On dash, the fang boar was in pain and was furious. It kept twisting its body, wanting to throw him off. Fatty Chu lowered his body and directly sprawled on the fang boar's back. No matter how it moved, it was unable to throw him off. He even punched its head and stomach from time to time. Sima Yue saw this scene and muttered, "Why do I feel an indescribable sense of familiarity? The last time when you were fighting with the acacia silk snake, didn't you use a frying pan to hug it tightly?" Bei Gong Tang said. Now that she thought about it, she did the same thing at that time. No wonder she felt that it was familiar. But couldn't she just say that she was fighting with the acacia silk snake? Why did she have to add that she was holding a frying pan? She did not know that the image of her holding a frying pan to save people had left a deep impression on them. It made them want to take it out from time to reminisce about it. Although the situation at that time was rather dangerous, that frying pan still mercilessly entertained them. Fatty Chu and the fang boar fought for close to an hour. In the end, Fatty Chu's head exploded with a punch. The fang boar fell to the ground. He was also paralyzed on the ground and did not want to move at all. During the fight, Sima Yue and the others watched from the side. They only walked over when he won. Seeing the brain that flowed out, Sima Yue curled her lips and said, "This is good stuff. You actually wasted it like that." Fatty Chu lay on the ground and looked at Sima Yue and said, "Yue, I want to eat roasted pig trotters." Chapter 150. Seeing that Fatty Chu had worked so hard, Sima Yue kindly made a set of roasted pig trotters for him. At the same time, she also dissected the ivory-toothed pig so that it could be everyone's meat for the following period of time. While she was cooking, Fatty Chu sat in meditation to rest. When she was done, Fatty Chu had also recovered. Wow, smells good." Fatty Chu came over and saw that Sima Yue had already prepared everything and was roasting pig trotters. He said, "I was just saying, I didn't think that Yue would really know how to roast pig trotters. It smells so good." Sima Yue was putting the last bit of seasoning on the pig trotters. She glanced at him and said, "Didn't someone say that he wanted to eat tonight when he waved his fist?" Then he said it again. "Seeing that you want to eat so much, I'll let you do it this time." "Haha, Yue, you're just right. Whoever marries you in the future will have good food," Fatty Chu said while drooling. "I don't have any plans to get married." Sima Yue shrugged and said, "When I'm done with what I have to do, I'm afraid that I'll become a leftover woman. You saved General Sima and the others. What else do you have to do?" Fatty Chu reached out to grab the roasted pig trotters, but was slapped away by Sima Yue. "That's right, Yue. Other than saving General Sima, what else do you have to do?" Wei Ziqi asked curiously. Sima Yue smiled, but did not reply. She still had many things to do. She had to save Sima Lai and the others, find the original body's parents, and settle the grudges from her previous life. Although she had not recalled all the memories from her previous life, from her dreams, the Shimin family's revenge was waiting for her. Other than that, she also had to help Mo Sha find the other half of his soul. She had a feeling that Mo Sha's strength was not low. If she got involved with him, she might get involved with the Devil Realm in the future. Regardless of whether it was good or bad, this gave her a headache. She prepared all the dishes before passing the roasted pig trotters to Fatty Chu. Seeing him eating so happily, it was as if he was venting all the grievances from the fight in the morning. After lunch, everyone continued to walk into the mountain. Perhaps it was because their location was closer to the inner part of the mountain. They encountered 2 high-level, low-level spirit beasts in the afternoon. because the two spirit beasts in the afternoon were not like the fanged boar who only knew how to use brute force. It was more difficult to deal with them. One time, Sima Yue and Bait Gongtang went up together. The other time, it was Ouyang Fei and Wei Ziqi. After cleaning up the mess, everyone set up camp beside a small stream in the valley. The battle in the afternoon had more or less injured everyone, so everyone went back to rest early, leaving only the spirit beast to keep watch. Sima Yue took out the golden snake fruit tree and ate a pill to recuperate. After a while, she opened her eyes and jumped down from the bed. She took out the alchemy furnace and herbs and began to refine pills. The Sima family still relied on her to supply them with medicinal pills, so when she was resting, she had to refine some commonly used medicinal pills. Then, she would let Little Roar deliver them to the designated location and hand them over to the person who came to collect the goods. At the same time, she treated it as practicing her alchemy skills. For the rest of the night, as long as she did not refine pills, she would cultivate or comprehend the space. As her comprehension of the space increased and deepened, she also understood more about it. The world around her also became more and more different. Space was no longer unfathomable to her. It was as if it had a life of its own and could change at any time. Half a month after entering the mountain, they found a natural cave. There were a few secret passages in the cave. Everyone tidied it up and widened it, turning it into their own rooms. For the time being, that place was their base camp. During the day, they would either battle with each other or look for spirit beasts to train with. At night, there were various arrangements. Sima Yue and everyone else's lives were filled to the brim. However, because the golden snake fruit tree needed moonlight to shine on it, Sima Yue would often spend the night outside. Because the spiritual qi here was dense, after every battle, everyone would spend a period of time to recover the spiritual qi in their bodies. Every time, they would reap quite a bit of benefits. After entering the mountain for less than a month, Sima Yue advanced to a 9th level spirit master. More than a month later, after a battle with a 1st level sacred beast, she broke through and became a 1st level great spirit master. That night, Sima Yue was cultivating and consolidating her newly attained great spirit master cultivation. Suddenly, she felt the movement of the devil's snare bracelet. She hurriedly called Little Roar out and let him set up a barrier. Once the barrier was set up, Immerse appeared in the cave. "It's done," Sima Yue asked somewhat excitedly. Thinking about it, Immerse had not contacted her for half a year. She was worried that there would be problems during the fusion of the spirit orb. She was also worried that Immerse would not be able to persevere and that his soul would be harmed. However, he did not contact her, so she did not dare to contact him rashly. Immerse nodded and a small pagoda appeared in front of Sima Yue. It did not look any different from the 7-layered pagoda from before. 7-layered pagoda? Where's the spirit orb? Sima Yue only saw the small pagoda and asked, "Try to feel the connection between you and it." Immerse said. Sima Yue took the small pagoda and closed her eyes to feel it. She felt that there was a trace of connection between her and the pagoda. With a thought, she Immerse and Little Roar appeared in another environment. "Where's Little Spirit?" Not seeing Little Spirit, Sima Yue looked around. "I'm here." Little Spirit slowly appeared in the air. Sima Yue went forward and hugged Little Spirit. She stretched out her hand and pinched his face, but her hand was slapped away by his palm. Look at your awkward appearance. You're still the old Little Spirit." Sima Yue hugged Little Spirit and kissed him as she said, Of course it's me." Little Spirit wiped away his non-existent saliva. His cute little wife appearance made Sima Yue even happier. "Immerse, how are you?" Sima Yue saw that Immerse's soul was paler than before and asked with concern. "I'm all right. There aren't any big problems." Immerse said, "I see that your soul has become a lot paler." Sima Yue said, "It's just that I used up a bit of soul energy." Immerse said indifferently. Sima Yue knew that his current situation was not good, but no matter how she looked at him, he did not seem to want her to worry. "I didn't take good care of that golden snake fruit tree." Sima Yue said guiltily. "I know. Emo Sha had long seen the golden snake fruit tree that was about to wither. That fruit tree will be fine after a few days. Little Spirit said, furthermore, you don't need to take it out every night anymore. Why? Sima Yue lowered her head and looked at Little Spirit as she asked. Stupid master, didn't you notice that there are some changes here? Little Spirit said disdainfully. I came in to see how the two of you were doing. Naturally, I didn't notice any changes here. Sima Yue said as she looked around and said, I feel that there are some differences between this place and before. Little Spirit rolled his eyes at Sima Yue and said, lower your head and look. Sima Yue obediently lowered her head and actually saw her own shadow. She raised her head and discovered that there was actually a blue sky and white clouds here. There was even a scorching sun. Chapter 151. The Sun. Looking at the sun, Sima Yue was quite shocked. In the past, although the Soul Pearl was spacious, there was no blue sky or white clouds. There was no sun. When she raised her head, it was just chaos. She didn't expect that there would be such a thing now. If there's a sun, will there be a moon? Sima Yue asked as she recalled Little Spirit's words. That's right. In the future, there will also be day and night here. Little Spirit proudly said, if I want, there can even be wind and rain here. It will be more convenient to plant medicinal herbs in the future. Then wouldn't this become a mini-world? Sima Yue said in surprise. That's right. My place is now a small world. Little Spirit nodded his head and said, it's just that there aren't many open lands here, so it's not as spacious as other continents. But if there's a chance to continue improving, it will slowly become bigger. Then how can it be improved? Either you find something good to fuse with like this time, or your strength increases. Because I'm connected to you now, if your strength increases, it will also be helpful to me. Sima Yue was helpless. It was related to her power again. Little Roar was an ancient divine beast. Originally, it should have been very powerful, but because of the contract with her, its strength had decreased. In other words, her strength had increased, so it would naturally recover slowly. Exquisite was a paragon artifact, but because of him, she could only transform into hammers and frying pans. Now, he was also saying that it was related to her strength. This made her feel pressured, but then again, she had a lot of powerful things around her, but now it was like she was guarding a few big treasures, but she couldn't open the door to the treasures. She could only sneak a few peeks through the door. Since this golden snake fruit tree doesn't need to be taken out every night, it's also good. It's troublesome to move it around all the time. Sima Yue said, but didn't Emo Sha say that we can only sense the other half when we're in the bracelet? Doesn't that mean we have to be outside? No need. Stay here. I don't know what this 7-layer pagoda is made of, but after fusing with it, my ability has improved. Now I can absorb the essence of heaven and earth to nourish my soul. Little Spirit proudly said. PFFF. Sima Yue burst out laughing. Absorbing the essence of heaven and earth to nourish its soul. What kind of monster did Emo Sha refine it into? Seeing that Little Spirit was angry, she quickly restrained her smile and asked, what about the 7-story pagoda? We are now on the 7-layered pagoda. Little Spirit said, this is the first floor of the 7-layered pagoda. And the first floor of the 7-story pagoda was originally not big, but after fusing with me, it became bigger. Little Spirit said. He snapped his fingers, and a pagoda slowly appeared in front of him. I am now the artifact spirit of this tower, so I can control this tower. This was built for you, so you can enter the upper floors. Really? Sima Yue released Little Spirit, pushed open the door, and walked in. The first round looked a little dark, presumably because it was just an illusion created by Little Spirit. There's a staircase on the far side. You could go upstairs from there. But Little Spirit had not finished speaking when Sima Yue ran up the stairs. In the end, she was fiercely blocked by something, causing her to fall down. Damn, what's that thing? My butt hurts. Sima Yue rubbed her, but as she got up, Little Spirit flew over and said, I haven't finished speaking. Why are you in such a hurry? The second round hasn't been activated yet, so you can't go up yet. Sima Yue speechlessly looked at the thin layer of barrier on the stairs. Wasn't this teasing her? What you ran so fast yourself. Little Spirit pouted, looking cute. Sima Yue pulled Little Spirit over and shook him as she asked, Little Spirit, aren't you the artifact spirit? Don't tell me you can't open it. I'm not the original artifact spirit, Little Spirit said. If I was the original artifact spirit, it would be a problem for you to go to any number of levels. However, I forcefully invaded this place. It's already not bad to be able to activate the upper few levels. It's impossible to open the barrier on every level. Then how can I go up? Sima Yue curled her lips. Is it related to my strength again? Yes, smart. It's because I'm weak again. Heavens, just strike me with lightning. Sima Yue wailed. Ha! A bolt of lightning struck Sima Yue's body, turning her body black and her hair curly. Ha ha! Seeing her like this, Little Spirit and Little Roar laughed unkindly. Even Emo, Sha couldn't help but curl his lips. Cough, cough. Sima Yue coughed twice and spat out a mouthful of black smoke. Little Spirit, what's going on? She regained her senses and saw that she was about to turn into charcoal. She shouted at Little Spirit. Little Spirit clutched his stomach as he held back his laughter and said, Haha, I forgot to tell you. Because this place has already formed its own world and you are the master of this place. Your words are equivalent to the heavens here. You asked for lightning to strike you, so lightning came. Little Roar flew on his Sima Yue's head and pulled on her hair, saying, You've always said that there were curly hair in your previous life, and you wanted a permit. Now you don't have to. Your hair is already curly. Sima Yue stretched out her hand and pulled on her hair a few times. She felt a piercing pain all over her body. You should eat some pills to heal first, Little Spirit strongly suggested. Humph. Sima Yue took out a bottle of pills from her interspatial ring and ate 2 of them before leaving the little pagoda. I realize that the time here is different from the outside world. Little Roar followed Sima Yue out and said, How is it different? Sima Yue rubbed her black face, leaving behind 2 white streaks. It looked even funnier. The time here passes faster than the outside world. Little Spirit said, Wasn't it like this in the past? The medicinal herbs here grow faster than the outside world. Sima Yue said disapprovingly, That was in the past. Now I've leveled up. Little Spirit was dissatisfied with Sima Yue's attitude and said loudly, In the past, time only passed for plants, but now it's the same for animals. In other words, even though you've been here for so long, it's only been a short while outside. Even humans can do it? Sima Yue stared at Little Spirit with her eyes wide open. Of course. Little Spirit said proudly. So awesome. Sima Yue hugged Little Spirit and rubbed him in her embrace. She looked at Emo Sha and said excitedly, Emo Sha, what kind of awesome thing did you make for me? I didn't think that it would have such an effect. It's mainly because of the material of the 7-story pagoda. Emo Sha saw that Sima Yue's eyes were about to turn into a straight line, and his heart was inexplicably happy. Sima Yue thought of a very serious problem. If it's like this, if I stay here often, won't I age faster than others? Chapter 152. Little Spirit shook his head and said, No, although the flow of time here is very fast, it won't leave any traces of time in a person's body. You will age at the same speed here as you do outside. So magical. Of course, I have something even more magical. You'll know in the future. Little Spirit kept her in suspense. What's the time difference between here and outside? 1 day outside is 3 days inside. So if I stay here for 3 days, it's equivalent to 1 day outside? Yes. That's great. Sima Yue laughed out loud. If Emo Sha wasn't in spirit form, she would have hugged him to show her excitement. She was just worrying that she didn't have enough time, and now this came. It was really like someone giving her a pillow when she was sleepy. Since this was the case, she could cultivate here, learn alchemy, and learn about spatial arrays. Now that she had 3 times the remaining 2 years, it was equivalent to her having 6 years. In the past, I always thought that meeting you was troublesome. Now, I truly feel that meeting you is not bad. Sima Yue stretched out her hand and poked Emo Sha's soul as she giggled. Emo Sha only glanced at her and didn't say anything. He turned into a black fog and retreated back into the bracelet. By the way, there's something else I want to show you. Little Spirit struggled out of Sima Yue's embrace and brought her to a 1-meter square pond. There's a new pool here. Sima Yue said in surprise when she saw the pool filled with a milky white liquid. This is soul fluid. Little Spirit said, plant the golden snake fruit tree next to it. The gas it emits will be absorbed into the soul fluid. Soul fluid can nourish the soul, right? Sima Yue reached out and touched it. She realized that there was very little soul fluid. It only covered the bottom of the pool with a thin layer. That's right. In the future, the heaven and earth essence I absorb will condense into this pool. You and Emo Sha can both use it. You, on the other hand, just directly consume it. Emo Sha, every once in a while, you can put some soul fluid into the bracelet to nourish his soul. It's much more effective than a golden snake fruit tree. Little Spirit said, Little Spirit, you're really a heaven-defying existence. Sima Yue looked at Little Spirit. After leveling up, he could no longer be described with words. Little Spirit proudly swung his chin. He didn't even look at how much effort he and Emo Sha had put in to achieve such an effect. Of course, this was all because of the 7-layered pagoda's heaven-defying effect. He didn't know what the owner of this 7-story pagoda used to refine it, but he could feel that every material used wasn't inferior to his. Moreover, it was forged from several different materials. If he had met that master back then, he was afraid that he could only become one of the materials. All right, you should stay here and recuperate. If you go out like this, you will definitely scare those people. Little Spirit said and disappeared. Hey, tell me what's on the upper floors before you leave. Sima Yue shouted. It's useless to tell you. When your strength reaches a certain level, you will naturally know. After Little Spirit finished speaking, his voice became silent. It seemed that he really didn't intend to tell her what was on the upper floors. Vomit. Sima Yue unhappily curled her lips. Looking at her own black arm, it seemed that she would have to stay here for the next 3 days. She first let Yiguang out. Seeing this, the usually steady Yiguang couldn't help but run away. When Ling Long came out, she hit Sima Yue twice and ran off to find Little Spirit to play with. All of this is out. Why does Qi Yin like to stay in the contract space? Sima Yue sensed Qi Yin. That egg was still sleeping, so she didn't care about him anymore. After that, she planted the golden snake fruit beside her soul pool. Seeing the withered yellow leaves, she took out a jade spoon and gently scooped up a spoonful of soul fluid from her soul pool. She lightly sprinkled it on the tree branch and poured the rest on the roots. I hope it has some use. After doing all this, Sima Yue stood up. Looking at the space that was different from before, she couldn't suppress the excitement in her heart. Grandfather, brother, with Little Spirit and the others, I will definitely go there to find you two in 2 years. Just as she was about to leave to cultivate, the withered golden snake fruit tree let out a rustling sound. She turned her head to look and found that the withered yellow leaves had all fallen off. The bare branches once again sprouted new buds. The new buds grew quickly, and quickly they all bloomed. What is this situation? Sima Yue looked at the changes of the golden snake fruit tree and was fiercely shocked. Was this the snapshot from her previous life? It should be the soul fluid that can increase the growth of the golden snake fruit tree. Emo Sha's voice transmitted from the bracelet. The reason why it can grow so much this time is because he used too much soul fluid just now. Then if I give it another spoonful, will it bloom and bear fruit? Sima Yue asked curiously. Too much is as bad as not enough. If you aren't afraid of killing it, then you can try. Emo Sha said. Then forget it. Sima Yue kept the jade spoon. If it really died, then wouldn't she suffer a huge loss? When you have time, you can use a little to water it. It should be able to greatly increase its growth speed. Emo Sha said. I'll leave this matter to Little Spirit. Sima Yue said. If she watered it a little every day, maybe she would be able to have golden snake fruit again soon. Little Spirit, who was hiding in the shadows, was almost angered to death by Sima Yue. He appeared and hit her with Ling Long. What a waste. What a prodigal woman. Little Spirit howled in grief. Seeing Sima Yue, his face was filled with pain. Why are you so agitated? Sima Yue held her arm that was hurt and looked at Little Spirit with grievance. This soul fluid is so precious, but you actually used it to water the tree. You can only lick it lightly every time, or else your soul will explode. You actually used so much at once. I'm so angry. Little Spirit glared at Sima Yue. He really shouldn't have told her about the existence of this thing. Cough, cough. You didn't tell me right. Sima Yue said. I just gave a big spoonful. Will it explode? It won't die. However, it needs a long time to digest the soul fluid that it just absorbed. Little Spirit said. Who knows, maybe after it finishes digesting this time, it will bloom. Hee hee. Then I'll give it a drop every time. Sima Yue said. Previously, she thought that this soul fluid was too little. She could only take a drop every time. Now it seemed that this soul fluid was still a lot. She used a bottle to fill a spoonful and knocked it on the devil's snare bracelet, asking, Do you want it? A little black fog appeared on the bracelet. That black fog wrapped around the bottle and entered the bracelet. Taking another look at the golden snake fruit tree, she was satisfied and went to cultivate. Because of the abnormal recovery ability of the light demon body, her body completely recovered after a day. She fiddled around and prepared to go out. Before she went out, she changed the name of the Spirit Pearl. From now on, the Spirit Pearl and the 7-layered pagoda merged into one, and it was called the Spirit Pagoda. Chapter 153. She stayed inside for a long time, but it was not even midnight when she went outside. She let Little Roar keep the enchantment, and then she started to cultivate in the cave. Early in the morning, the few of them woke up at about the same time. They washed up and went out. Today, they were going to look for spirit beasts to battle and improve their combat abilities. After staying here for 2 months, the spirit beasts in the surroundings had basically recognized them. They knew that the 5 of them had abnormal combat strength, so when they saw them, they would stay far away. The few of them searched around, but didn't see any spirit beasts. Helpless, they could only search further away. If we go any further, we will enter the territory of the saint beasts. Standing at the top of the mountain, Ouyang Fei said as he looked at the mountain range in front of him, Our things are all in the ring anyway. We can leave whenever we want. Fatty Chu said, Since we can't find any spirit beast to fight with us here, why don't we continue moving forward? Sima Yue was a little hesitant. Right now, she was a great spirit master. Bei Gongtang and Ouyang Fei were 9th-level spirit masters, while Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu were 8th-level spirit masters. It would be fine to deal with 1 or 2 saint beasts, but if they met a group, it would be troublesome. However, if they continued to delay here, it would be difficult to achieve their goal of increasing their strength. Didn't you say that you grew up in the midst of danger? Wei Ziqi saw Sima Yue's hesitation and laughed. Sima Yue's eyes lit up. That's right. Didn't I come here with this idea? Why am I hesitating now? Actually, it was also because she felt that Fatty Chu and the rest had followed her here. If it wasn't for her, they wouldn't have come to the Sophia mountain range. At least, they wouldn't have come at this time. Therefore, she would subconsciously consider their safety. Let's go. The front isn't like here. There are more spirit beasts inside, and the forces are stronger. It's enough for us to stay here for a while. Ouyang Fei said. After sending them away, the spirit beasts that were hiding came out one after another. They hugged each other and cried bitterly. They had finally sent this group of fiends away. It had not been easy. Previously, he thought that they were pushovers, but he didn't expect them to be tough nuts to crack. Every time the spirit beasts provoked them, they didn't have a good ending. They were either killed directly or beaten half to death. They were so scared that they didn't dare to show their faces again. Thus, everyone joined forces to hide from them. When they couldn't find the spirit beasts, they naturally left. Who would have thought that this move would really work? With the fiend gone, their lives could return to how they were before. When Sima Yue and the rest left, they naturally did not know what the low-level spirit beasts were thinking. If they knew, they would probably die. They were not as perverted as they were described to be. However, she also discovered that every single one of them had the strength to fight against those of a higher level. Although Wei Ziqi and the rest were still spirit masters, dealing with a great spirit master was not a problem at all. As for Bei Gong and Ouyang Fei, if they went all out, their battle prowess could even match that of a level 7 or 8 great spirit master. Needless to say, with her martial arts from her previous life, her abnormal spiritual power in this life, and her pool of spiritual power that was larger than the average person's after her transformation, as well as her all-elemental talent, even if she encountered a mid-level spiritual king, she would still have a chance of winning. Remembering that she could use the Spirit Pagoda now, she let Little Spirit pick some spirit fruits and gave 2 to each of them. They ate the spirit fruits as they hurried on their way. Spirit fruit? Yue, where did you come from? Fatty Chu saw the spirit fruit and took a bite. It was watery, and when he ate it, a wave of spiritual power flowed from his stomach to his meridians, following his meridians and flowing into his pool of spiritual power. I made it, Sima Yue said as she took a bite of the spirit fruit. This spirit fruit is much better than the ones we ate before. It contains a lot more spiritual power. Wei Ziqi said. Bei Gong Tang and Ouyang Fei silently ate the spirit fruits, but their eyes were filled with curiosity. Sima Yue did not want to tell them about the existence of the Spirit Pagoda now. Although everyone had guessed a little, they all had a tacit understanding. Of course, letting them know some of her secrets, other than trusting them, was also for her own convenience. When the time came, it would not be too troublesome for her to do anything. After all, living together, there were some secrets that were not easy to hide. Furthermore, eating spirit fruits often could increase everyone's cultivation. There's movement. Sima Yue suddenly stopped and threw away the spirit fruit in her hand. She took out Ling Long and looked to the left in front of her warily. Seeing Sima Yue throw away the spirit fruit that she had just eaten, Fatty Chu's heart ached. However, thinking about it, he knew that she definitely had a lot of spirit fruits. He was happy. Did this mean that he would be able to eat spirit fruits in the future? This time, they met a first-level Saint Beast, saber-toothed tiger. When it saw them, the saber-toothed tiger immediately rushed over, as if it was hungry and wanted to eat them. We met a Saint Beast the moment we arrived. Do you have to be so fast? Fatty Chu kept the remaining spirit fruits into his spatial ring and took out his own weapon to meet it. Ouyang Fei and the others were not slow either. When Fatty Chu was complaining, they had already started moving. Although there was only a difference of 1 level between a first-level Saint Beast and a 9th-level low spirit beast, the difference in strength was too great. They could deal with a 9th-level low spirit beast in 2s and 3s, but against a Saint Beast, they still had to work together. Half an hour later, the 5 of them had successfully subdued the saber-toothed tiger. They did not want to kill it, so they did not take its life. Yue, doesn't the Sima family still need spirit beasts? Why don't we tame it and send it back along with the pills when the time comes? Wei Ziqi said. The price of Saint Beast was several times higher than that of a low-level spirit beast. A single Saint Beast was equivalent to the income of many low-level spirit beasts. Sima Yue thought about it and agreed. The Sima family still needed spirit beasts to keep up appearances. She had promised the Beast Tamer Master Guild that she would tame some Saint Beasts for them, but that had not happened yet. She might as well tame these spirit beasts and send them back when the time comes. After this period of time of cultivating the training spirit arts, as well as the growth of her own strength, her mental strength had increased by quite a bit. Now, it was much easier to tame Saint Beasts. Sometimes, she would let Wei Ziqi tame them. After coming to the Sophia mountain range, she had taught the first part of the training spirit arts to Wei Ziqi. She did not say that it was a part of the training spirit arts, but only that it was a method to increase one's mental strength. Wei Ziqi persisted in his practice every night. Now, he was also able to tame spirit beasts within the 2nd level of Saint Beasts. Thus, the group of people began to sweep through the mountains again. As they continued to increase their own strength, they did not forget to tame all the spirit beasts. They knew that Sima Yuyue had something that could store living creatures. Seeing her tame spirit beasts one by one, they were not surprised at all. Every day, they ate spirit fruits, battled with spirit beasts, and absorbed the dense spirit chi in the mountains. Although they were constantly on the verge of death, their strength was still increasing like a rocket. A few months later, Sima Yue sat on Little Roar and left by herself. She came to the place where she first entered the Sophia mountain range. There, the Sima family's housekeeper was waiting for her. The last time she sent the pills, she said that she wanted him to bring over 10 cages for spirit beasts. Thus, he hurriedly went to the Beast Tamer Master Guild to borrow some cages. Without stopping to rest, he rushed over and waited for Sima Yue to come out. Chapter 154. Young Master. Seeing that Sima Yue was sitting on Little Roar, the butler heaved a sigh of relief and brought his men to greet her. At least she had been here for a few months and was still fine. Uncle Fu, have you been waiting here for a long time? Sima Yue got down from Little Roar and helped the butler up. No, I just arrived not long ago, the butler said. In fact, he had been waiting here for a few days. Did you bring the cage I asked you to prepare? Sima Yue asked. I've brought them. With a thought from the butler, hundreds of cages appeared at the foot of the mountain. Young Master, you've already sent back a lot of low-level spirit beasts. Why do you need so many cages this time? Sima Yue looked at the cages and nodded her head in satisfaction. Hearing his words, she said, the spiritual beasts from before weren't of a high level. This time, I prepared some higher-level ones. When you go back, give some of them to the Beast Tamer Master Guild and keep the rest as the store's signature item. Then, I'll raise some 7th or 8th grade spirit beasts. Whoever in the family needs to contract them can do so. Level 7 or 8 Saint Beast. When the guards heard Sima Yue's casual words, they couldn't help but gasp. Young Master, where did you get so many spirit beasts? The housekeeper was not concerned about the spirit beasts, but about Sima Yue's safety. Usually, I'll just accept it when I'm defeated. As Sima Yue spoke, she took out the spirit beast from the spirit pagoda and said, put these spirit beasts in. The guards initially thought that Sima Yue was exaggerating when she said that she had brought so many cages over. They did not expect that she had actually tamed so many spiritual beasts. Even though they boasted that they were experienced and knowledgeable, they had never seen so many tamed spirit beasts at once. Didn't you hear young Master's words? Pack up these spirit beasts. The butler urged when he saw that the guards didn't move. Yes, butler. Hearing the steward's urging, those people moved and put the spirit beasts into cages. Sima Yue smiled and said, Uncle Fu, I prepared a spirit beast for you. Me? Sima Yue nodded and took out the spirit beast that she had prepared for the butler. 9th level Holy Beast. Goshawk. Heavens, it's really a level 9 Holy Beast. Sima Yue looked at the butler and said, this is the highest level spirit beast that I can tame now. Once you guys form a contract with it, it should be able to become a divine beast. Uncle Fu, what do you think? The butler noticed that Sima Yue was looking at him like a child waiting to be praised. He waved his hand and said, Young Master, how can I accept this level 9 holy beast? You should keep it for yourself. Sima Yue held his hand and said, Uncle Fu, I know how to tame beasts, and I'm in the Sophia mountain range. Why would I be afraid that there won't be any spirit beasts for me to contract? I know that you've been able to form a contract with other spirit beasts for a long time, but you've never met a suitable one. Now, this is something that I've specially prepared for you. Are you still unwilling to accept it? Butler, this is a token of young Master's appreciation. Please accept it. Yeah. The guards behind him all tried to persuade him. The butler looked at Sima Yue's sincere gaze, and the corners of his eyes became slightly moist. He nodded and said, all right. This old servant will accept it. This old servant thanks young Master. Previously, she had not been able to tame such a high-level spirit beast. After a few months in the Sophia mountain range, she was able to tame a level 9 holy beast. How hard must she have been working these past few months? Then you can form a contract with it. Sima Yue pulled him to the front of the goshawk and placed his hand on the goshawk's forehead. Then, she retreated to the side and watched him form a contract. The light of the contract first enveloped the man and beast. After the contract was successful, the man and beast were then enveloped by the light of promotion. Sima Yue looked at the goshawk on the ground and remembered that Sima Lin had used this to take Sima Lai and the others away. After the promotion, the goshawk successfully became a divine beast, and the butler advanced 2 levels, breaking through the Spirit Overlord and becoming a level 1 Spirit Emperor. Spirit Emperor. The butler has become a Spirit Emperor. Seeing the butler's current level, everyone became excited. The butler also did not think that he would become a Spirit Emperor just like that. For a moment, he felt as if he was in a dream. Yes, Uncle Fu is also a Spirit Emperor. With the addition of the Divine Beast, the Sima family is equivalent to having 2 Spirit Emperors. Sima Yue was happy for the butler. In the future, the Sima family will be handed over to you. No one will dare to casually come and provoke us. Young master, the butler understood the meaning behind Sima Yue's words and looked at her anxiously. Uncle Fu, wait for me to go over there. The Sima family will be handed over to you sooner or later. Sima Yue said, if Grandpa and I don't come back, then the Sima family will be handed over to you. Young master, we will wait for you to come back. The butler said, if we can save Grandpa and the others, it will be up to them whether they want to come back or not. If we can't save them, the Sima family cannot remain without a master. Sima Yue said, 10 years. If we don't come back in 10 years, you will be the master of the Sima family. With your current strength, it is natural for you to become the master of the family. Young master, Uncle Fu don't decline. You should know that a family cannot remain without a master. Sima Yue said, you don't want to see the Sima family decline like this, right? Do you want me to be worried about this place even when I leave? Sigh, I promise, young master. The butler replied unwillingly. Yes, I will leave here in a year and go over there. I will try my best to prepare more pills and spirit beasts for you. But you have to quickly recruit an alchemist and beast tamer. Sima Yue said, I understand, young master. The butler said, we have already recruited an alchemist. Young master, you don't have to worry about the pills. That's good. Sima Yue said, young master, regarding the matter of saving the general, you have to do your best. I think the general and the other young masters don't want you to live too hard for them. The butler said with heartache. Sima Yue looked at the old man who loved her like an uncle. She smiled sweetly and said, happiness is happiness when a family is together. No matter how good one's life is, it's not good to be alone. Uncle Fu, you have to take care of yourself. They're still waiting for me. I will go back first. Sigh, young master, go ahead. Be careful, the butler said with a sigh. Sima Yue hugged the butler and turned around to sit on Little Roar. She waved at the butler and flew towards Sophia Mountain. The butler and the guards watched as Sima Yue left. Only when she disappeared did they plan to leave. Butler, we have so many sacred beasts. How are we going to bring them back? A guard looked at the dozens of cages and was worried. The butler didn't think that there would be so many. He originally wanted to bring 2 cages each, but he didn't think that there would be so many cages. Master, sit on me back, Goshawk said, and its body grew bigger. Its huge body was more than enough to put down the dozens of cages. There was no other way now. The butler nodded and said, okay, you guys carry the cages up. Those guards didn't think that they would be able to sit on a sacred beast in their lifetime. After carrying the cages up, everyone sat on Goshawk and headed back to the imperial capital. When they returned to the imperial capital, the divine beasts earned the attention of the Sima family. It also announced to others that the Sima family's position was unshakable. Chapter 155. Sima Yue sat on Little Roar and returned to Sophia mountain range. When they returned, Fatty Chu was fighting with Wei Ziqi. Every time the 5 of them fought, they used real guns and bullets. They really wanted to compete with each other. Only a real fight could improve people. They didn't want to become someone who only knew how to cultivate, but had no combat power. Sima Yue landed beside Bei Gongtang and the others while Little Roar ran off to play by himself. She was not worried about Little Roar's safety. Perhaps it was because he was an auspicious beast, so no matter how high his rank was, he would be able to play with others very quickly. Those spirit beasts would not harm him. Bei Gongtang nodded towards Sima Yue and asked, "Is it done?" "Yes. I've already handed it over to Uncle Fu and the others," Sima Yue said. Seeing Fatty Chu rushing towards Wei Ziqi, she sighed. "Fatty's speed is much faster than before." "Yeah, you've lost a lot of weight. It seems like this is also effective," Ouyang Fei said. "Fatty, you must have lost a few kilos in the past few months, right? Are we still going to call him Fatty when he's not fat anymore?" Sima Yue rubbed her chin and pondered. "He's not fat anymore. It looks like he's not used to it," Bei Gongtang said. When Fatty Chu heard them talking about his figure, he rolled his eyes speechlessly, but the movements of his hands did not slow down. He was no longer the young lad who was distracted when he first entered the mountain and was thrown out by his opponents. These few months of hard training had matured him quite a bit. Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu fought for close to half an hour, and in the end, it was still Wei Ziqi who had a slight advantage. Although Fatty Chu had lost, he was in a pretty good mood. He laid on the ground and laughed heartily. This time, I've lasted longer than the last time. Ziqi, I might be able to surpass you soon." "I'll wait," Wei Ziqi said without showing any signs of weakness. After the two of them had rested, Bei Gongtang and Ouyang Fei started to fight again. Not long after, they heard Little Roar wailing as he ran towards them. You run. The bandits are coming." Sima Yue looked towards the direction where Little Roar came from and was immediately stunned. Damn, what the hell was that group of divine beasts? Little Roar flew in front as a group of divine beasts chased after him. That fiendish appearance made it seem as if Little Roar had provoked them and was being chased after. You, save me." Little Roar saw Sima Yue from afar and quickly flew towards her. Sima Yue immediately reacted and shouted at Bei Gongtang and the others. "Ouyang, Bei Gong, stop fighting, run. Fatty, don't just lie there, get up." "What's the matter, Yue? I'm so tired that I don't even have the energy to run." Fatty Chu lay on the ground, not realizing that danger had arrived. "Me too. I don't have any strength left," Wei Ziqi said. The nearby spirit beasts had all been taken care of by them, and there weren't many spirit beasts that were willing to come out. They had been planning to change their location for the past 2 days, so they didn't leave any energy for themselves when they were fighting. Bei Gongtang and Ouyang Fei heard Sima Yue's words and stopped. They looked towards the direction of the commotion and saw a group of divine beasts. The two of them were stunned. It was Sima Yue's shout that made them come back to their senses. They ran over and helped Sima Yue pull the two people on the ground as they ran. Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi only just realized that a group of divine beasts were attacking. This time, they didn't need Sima Yue to urge them as they started running on their own. F*CK. Aren't the divine beasts in the inner regions? Why are there so many divine beasts here? Fatty Chu saw the divine beasts quickly approaching and shouted. It must be Little Roar's fault again. Sima Yue didn't need to think to know that he must have teased someone he shouldn't have teased. "No, spirit beasts. No, I can't run anymore." Fatty Chu ran for a while and was really too tired. He didn't have any energy left. Sima Yue saw that the divine beasts had already locked onto them. Even if they continued to run, they wouldn't be able to escape. There were quite a few divine beasts and many saint beasts. They could kill them in a matter of minutes. There was no other way. Sima Yue stopped. Ouyang Fei and the others saw that she had stopped and followed suit, saying anxiously, "Yue, run quickly. We can't outrun them, even if we run." Sima Yue said, "Little Roar, you better hurry up." Fatty Chu already couldn't run anymore. He ran to Sima Yue's side and supported her as he panted heavily. Little Roar turned his head to look at the divine beasts that were just a little bit away from him. He moved his little legs and increased his speed, pouncing into Sima Yue's embrace. Bei Gongtang and the others also knew that it was useless to continue running. Seeing that Sima Yue and the others had stopped, they also stopped and prepared to make a last stand. Yu, quickly catch me. Little Roar pounced into Sima Yue's embrace, and those spirit beasts also pounced over. They had already seen the divine beast's teeth clearly and thought that they were most likely going to die here today. However, just as the divine beasts were a few meters away from them and pounced towards them, the scene in front of them suddenly changed. The divine beasts had all disappeared. Fatty Chu closed his eyes and waited for the last bit of pain. However, it didn't come even after a long time. He opened his eyes slightly, wanting to see what was going on. He didn't expect to see a foreign place. Where are the divine beasts? Fatty Chu opened his eyes and saw that the others were there. He asked suspiciously. Bei Gong Tang and the others were also surprised as they looked at their surroundings, asking, Yue, where is this? This is inside the Spirit Pagoda. Sima Yue said, It's my own space. Spirit Pagoda? Your own space? Isn't there no air in the space, so it can't contain living things? The Spirit Pagoda is a little special. It's a world of its own. It's not much different from the outside. It's just that it's inside a pagoda. Sima Yue said, The spirit fruits that you all eat grow here. Wow, there really are so many spirit fruits. Fatty Chu saw a patch of spirit fruit trees. There were all kinds of spirit fruits hanging on the trees, looking very tempting. He couldn't resist the temptation and ran to a tree to pluck one. When he held it in his hands, he started to chew on it. So many medicinal ingredients. Bei Gong Tang saw all kinds of medicinal ingredients of different ages and walked over quickly. Starred grass, colored glass leaves, xian ku, so many kinds. Sima Yue didn't expect Bei Gong Tang to be so familiar with medicinal ingredients, saying, Bei Gong, are you familiar with medicinal ingredients too? Yeah, my family used to be an alchemy family. Although I don't have the qualifications to learn, I still have a good understanding of medicinal ingredients. Bei Gong Tang said, The spirit beasts that you tamed before were also placed here, right? Wei Ziqi thought of those spirit beasts and knew that she had a place where living things could be placed, but he didn't expect it to be this kind of space. Yue, this place of yours is really too mystical. Fatty Chu looked at the things in the spirit pagoda, and his eyes almost popped out. I'll bring you all around in a while, Sima Yue said. She grabbed Little Roar, who wanted to take advantage of the chaos to escape, and said with a serious face, Speak, what did you do this time? Chapter 156. Little Roar shrunk his neck and rolled his eyes left and right. He tried to pat Sima Yue's hand with his short legs. I didn't do anything. Sima Yue bent her index finger and thumb and flicked his head, saying, If you didn't do anything, why would those divine beasts chase after you? Don't you have a natural affinity with spirit beasts? If you didn't do something wrong, why would an entire herd of spirit beasts chase after you? Are you going to tell me or not? If you don't tell me, I'll throw you out. In any case, those divine beasts are still outside. Hearing Sima Yue's threat, Little Roar reluctantly said, Actually, I really didn't do anything. I just saw that their queen was pretty and said a few words. How many words did he say? Sima Yue patted its head again and roared. Did you go and flirt with their queen? I didn't say anything. And then the queen said she wanted to go with me. Little Roar was still feeling very wronged. Who knew that their king actually took it seriously? That's why it's like this. Yu, I really only said a few words. Sima Yue was speechless. This guy really knew how to cause trouble. What did you say? She guessed that it was definitely not something ordinary. Otherwise, why would they send so many divine beasts and holy beasts to kill it? I was just saying that you're so pretty. Do you want to go somewhere else with me to play or something? Seeing Sima Yue's gaze getting darker and darker, Little Roar's voice got softer and softer, and his neck got tighter and tighter. When Sima Yue saw Little Roar's expression, she was both angry and amused. How could she have such a lustful, contracted beast? Didn't the ancient books say that auspicious beasts represented peace? Why did she see such a wretched expression on Little Roar? Especially when she was wearing a cute coat. Every time it made a mistake, It used its cute appearance to gain sympathy. Its attitude was sincere, and it did not change. Seeing Sima Yoyue's angry look, Little Roar blinked his big cute eyes and hugged his two front legs together. He said weakly, "Yu, I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again." PFFF. The four people at the side burst out in laughter. They never thought that Little Roar would be able to stir up such a situation. He actually went to flirt with the queen of the divine beasts. Cough, cough, Yue. Since he has already admitted his mistake, you shouldn't blame him. Bei Gong Tang saw Little Roar's appearance and was mesmerized by his cuteness, so she pleaded on his behalf. That's right, that's right. Little Roar nodded his head in agreement. Sima Yue flicked it again and said, "If you dare to flirt with spiritual beasts again, I'll lock you in the contract space for a year." Little Roar wanted to use his short legs to cover his head, but his legs were too short, so he could only cover his ears. I won't, it hurriedly promised. If there's a next time, I'll teach you a lesson," Sima Yue said as she threw Little Roar into the air. Once Little Roar obtained his freedom, he ran away like a wisp of smoke. Seeing this man and beast, everyone laughed. "Yue, how long do we have to stay here?" Fatty Chu came over and asked. "At least until those spiritual beasts leave," Sima Yue said. "I feel that it doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter even if we stay here for a few years." Fatty Chu said, "The spiritual qi here is much denser than outside. If we can cultivate here, the effects will be even better. This place also has its own restrictions." Sima Yue said, "Little Spirit, let us see the situation outside." Little Spirit appeared in the air. With a wave of his little hand, a curtain appeared in the air, and the situation outside appeared in front of everyone. Those spiritual beasts were circling around outside nonstop, as if they were puzzled as to why these people had suddenly disappeared. "Looks like they won't leave for a while. We have to stay here for a while." Sima Yue saw a few spiritual beasts lying on the ground, as if waiting for them to appear. "Yue, this is?" Wei Ziqi looked at Little Spirit. "What is a little child doing here?" "This is Little Spirit. He is the weapon spirit of the Spirit Pagoda." Sima Yue said, "He is in charge of everything here. He is my little housekeeper." "Weapon spirit?" Bei Gong Tang looked at Little Spirit in shock. When she was in the primordial lands, she knew that there were some divine weapons that could produce a weapon spirit. However, those divine weapons were of a very high level, and there were very few of them. She never thought that Sima Yue would actually have one. Sima Yue said, "Since we can't go out now, I'll bring you guys around." "Sure, I'm very curious about this place," Fatty Chu said with a smile. Although Ouyang Fei and the others did not say anything, their gazes were the same. Sima Yue brought them around. The medicine field, the pill refining room, the cultivation room, and the library. In the library, they realized that there were many different types of books. They were a little dazzled. Pill refining, weapon refining, beast taming, cultivation. "Oh my God, Yue, you have everything here." Wei Ziqi looked at the books and became extremely excited. Little Spirit's previous owners had all kinds of occupations. These things were all left behind by them. Sima Yue said, "If you guys are interested in anything, feel free to look around." "Really?" "Of course. Anyway, it's not like these books will disappear after you read them." Sima Yue smiled and said, "Furthermore, the resources here are very rich. You can practice as much as you want. Of course, there are no spirit beasts, but there are many in the mountains outside. If it was in the past, she would have hesitated to bring them in. However, they had walked all the way to where they were now and had experienced a lot together. Even when she was at her lowest point, they did not alienate her. Instead, they did their best to help her and comfort her. The reason why the Sima family was not annexed after Sima Lai was because of their help. She had always kept their feelings for her in her heart. Furthermore, they were worried that she would be alone, so they even chose to come here with her. After such a long period of observation, she understood everyone's character. She had said before that she did not care about adding flowers to brocade. She cared more about providing help in times of need. Furthermore, these things were useless here, so she might as well share them with them. I suddenly feel like I'm in a dream. Fatty Chu stretched out his hand and pinched Wei Zi Chi, who was beside him. The latter cried out in pain. If you can still cry out, it means that you can feel pain. Then we're not in a dream. Fatty Chu did not see the anger in Wei Zi Chi's eyes and said happily. Ouyang Fei rolled his eyes at the two of them and continued to read the book in his hand. Bei Gong Tang smiled faintly and lowered her head to look at the book in her hand before putting it down. Sima Yue looked at the book she was reading just now. It was a book on alchemy. She could see the reluctance in Bei Gong Tang's eyes. She seemed to want to learn alchemy, but she forced herself to put it down. Bei Gong, don't you want to learn alchemy? She asked. I do, but we don't have that much time to learn now. Bei Gong Tang said. When she said this, the excited Fatty Chu and the other smiles faded. They urgently needed to increase their strength and did not have the time to learn these things. They were not like Sima Yue, who had such abnormal talent. Chapter 157. As long as you want to learn, there will always be time. Sima Yue said. Didn't the great man say that time is like water in a sponge? As long as you're willing to squeeze, there will always be some. Bei Gong Tang still shook her head, saying, I need to spend more time cultivating because I don't have that much time left. Is it because of your family? Sima Yue asked. I said that I would go and save them, but I can't go now. I have to reach the divine rank as soon as possible. Only then will I have the qualifications to save them. Bei Gong Tang said, so my goal isn't to walk out of this mountain range. Seeing the forbearance on Bei Gong Tang's face, everyone felt bad for her. Fatty Chu said, Bei Gong, who are you going to save? My mother and brother. Where's your father? Don't mention that scum to me. Bei Gong Tang suddenly became agitated, and her tone was a little bad. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have. Sima Yue walked over and held her hand. Bei Gong, can you tell us more about yourself? My story is actually very simple. I met a scumbag father who fell in love with another woman. That woman gave birth to a daughter and then bullied my mother and brother together. Due to some reasons, I was chased out and fled to the Dongshan country. Bei Gong Tang finished her story in a few sentences, but they could see that it wasn't easy for her. Are your mother and brother still in the clan? Ouyang Fei asked with a frown. Bei Gong Tang nodded, saying, Our clan is an alchemy clan, but they don't allow me and my younger brother to refine pills. My mother's alchemy level is not bad, but her strength is not strong, so they imprisoned my brother and my mother and made my mother refine pills for them. After that, I escaped. I told my brother and the others that I would go back and save them. Bei Gong Tang thought of the past and clenched her fists tightly. Bei Gong, don't worry. Auntie and brother will be fine. Sima Yue comforted her. But even so, you can still learn alchemy. Yu, thank you for your kind intentions, but I still want to spend my time and effort on cultivation. Bei Gong Tang said. I can give you some other time, Sima Yue said. Other times. Not only Bei Gong Tang, the others were also puzzled. You guys just came in, so you might not have noticed that the flow of time here is different from the outside. Sima Yue said, 1 day outside is 3 days here. 3 days? The four of them shouted at the same time. Yes, and the spirit pagoda will erase the traces of time. We won't age faster here than outside. It's equivalent to treating 1 day as 3 days, Sima Yue explained. Oh my god, Yue, you're practically a godly cheat. Fatty Chu clutched his chest, feeling as if he couldn't breathe. Cultivating here for 3 days is equivalent to cultivating for a day outside. The spirit chi is also much better than outside. When cultivating here, the speed is not simply doubled. Ouyang Fei said, no wonder you're so abnormal. Fatty Chu said. Sima Yue shook her head and said, this place didn't have this function before. It was only after Little Spirit had leveled up that it had this function. But at that time, we were already in the mountains, so we didn't come in often. So you're saying that your previous cultivation was the same as ours? Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue. This guy's time was the same as theirs, but he grew faster than them. This was too much of a blow to them. Before he had leveled up, his growth was already so abnormal. Now that he had this function, They could already imagine how he would agitate them in the future. Normally, we'll be outside training with the spirit beasts. Other times, we can come in here. Sima Yue said, "This way, Bei Gong. You can learn alchemy." Bei Gong Tang nodded her head heavily. Looking at Sima Yue, she suppressed the gratitude in her heart. "Since it's so good, Yue, can I learn how to refine weapons?" Fatty Chu asked. Of course, compared to other professions, refining weapons requires a lot more physical strength. You've learned how to cultivate your body, so it's not bad if you can learn how to refine weapons. Sima Yue said, "Fatty, with your carefree personality, can you learn it?" Wei Ziqi laughed. "Who knows, I might be able to learn it." Fatty Chu said, "Little spirit, is there still a furnace for refining weapons here?" Sima Yue asked. "There should be," Little Spirit said. "Anyway, the things are all in the pavilion. You guys can go look for them yourselves." "All right, I'll bring you guys to look for them later," Sima Yue said. "I remember there are 2 more pill furnaces. Let's find them together." "Okay," Fatty Chu said excitedly. Sima Yue looked at Ouyang Fei and asked, "Ouyang, what do you want to learn?" "I don't have Fatty's physical strength, so I'd better learn how to refine pills." Ouyang Fei didn't forget to tease Fatty Chu. "I'd better study beast taming." Wei Ziqi said, "I've read many books about beast taming here. I'll just read those. Anyway, there are many things here. If you don't know one thing, you can learn another." Sima Yue said, and after that, Sima Yue brought them to the pavilion to look for 2 pill furnaces and a weapon furnace. Then, she let them choose a room to study while she went back to her room to cultivate. Fatty Chu pulled Wei Ziqi around one more time before going back to his room to study weapon refinement. A day later, Sima Yue took a look. Those spirit beasts were still guarding there, probably wondering if they would suddenly appear. However, everyone was in a hurry. Those who cultivated, those who researched, those who wanted to rest could walk around. They didn't have to worry about whether the mermen or spirit beasts would appear. Their days were very comfortable. Speaking of which, they hadn't been so relaxed since they arrived at the Sophia mountain range. 2 days had passed outside before those spirit beasts left. Sima Yue and the rest came out again. Maybe it was because they had absorbed a lot of spirit energy, or maybe it was because their tense bodies had finally relaxed. The 5 of them came out of the spirit pagoda and leveled up one after another. This made Fatty Chu and the rest snort in satisfaction. In the following days, they didn't need to find a place to rest. Every time, they would find spirit beasts outside to fight before returning to the spirit pagoda to rest. Time always passed quickly when there was a schedule. Sima Yue and the rest didn't know that another year had passed. Sima Yue gave the pills and spirit beasts that she had prepared to the Sima family. Wei Ziqi and the rest stayed in the spirit pagoda. Maybe it was because they knew that Sima Yue was about to leave, but these few times, it was the housekeeper who came personally to take the things. Sima Yue gave the spirit beast to him, saying that this was the last time. The housekeeper saw that Sima Yue had changed. Hearing that she was about to leave, he couldn't help but cry. However, other than telling Sima Yue to take care, he couldn't say anything else. This was because he knew that this day would come sooner or later. Chapter 158. This time, Sima Yue chose to watch the butler leave. Recalling the reluctant expression on the housekeeper's face before he left, she secretly swore in her heart that she would definitely take them out of this place and into a wider world. She called Wei Ziqi and the rest out. Everyone saw the sadness in her eyes and patted her shoulder, saying, "Parting is for the next reunion." "I understand," Sima Yue said. "Do you want to go back for a while? If you want to go back, we'll wait for you here." Fatty Chu glanced at Wei Ziqi, and the 2 of them nodded, saying, "I don't know when I will be able to return after leaving this time. Whether or not I can return, I want to go back and say goodbye to my parents." "Yue, do you want to go back?" Sima Yue shook her head. "I've already said goodbye to the butler. Beigong Ouyang, and I will wait for you here. If you don't want to come, you can send a message. We will definitely come back. Just wait for us for a few days." Fatty Chu said with certainty. Yes, go ahead. Let's meet here in 10 days. Sima Yue waved at them. Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi called out their own spirit beasts and left, quickly disappearing from everyone's line of sight. What are we going to do in the next 10 days? Sima Yue looked at the city in the distance and said, Do you want to go into the city and relax? Bei Gongtang shook her head, saying, I'd rather cultivate in the spirit pagoda for a month. Me too, Ouyang Fei said. All right then. The three of them walked into the mountain. After confirming that there was no one around, he brought the other two into the spirit pagoda. Excluding the time spent fighting with the spirit beasts, they spent most of their time in the spirit pagoda. In total, they spent more than 2 years in the spirit pagoda. During this period of time, the three of them had made quite a bit of progress in refining pills. Bei Gongtang had become a 3rd-ranked alchemist. Ouyang Fei had become a 2nd-ranked alchemist, and Sima Yue was already proficient in refining 4th-ranked pills. She was close to becoming a 5th-ranked alchemist. Sima Yue's improvement in alchemy was due to Immerse's secret guidance, while Bei Gongtang and Ouyang Fei's improvement was due to her guidance. Bei Gongtang's clan was an alchemist clan. Naturally, she knew how difficult it was to refine pills. She never thought that she would become a 3rd-ranked alchemist so quickly under Sima Yue's guidance. Furthermore, the method of refining pills was very unique. If no one explained it in detail, it would be very difficult for ordinary people to learn. Actually, what she didn't know was that Yue had learned all these from Immerse, and Immerse's alchemy skills were renowned throughout the 3 realms. He was known as the #1 alchemist in the 3 realms. At that time, his alchemy skills made many people scramble like ducks, but unfortunately, no one could learn it. Who would have thought that it would benefit Sima Yue and the others in the end? The 3 of them stayed in the Spirit Pagoda for a month. Other than cultivating, Bei Gongtang and Ouyang Fei were refining pills. On the other hand, Sima Yue was managing her time flexibly. Very quickly, it was the appointed day. Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi arrived at the appointed place very early. You guys are actually so early. A huge bird flew over. Sima Yue sat on top of it and looked at the 2 below. Yue, how did your little rock become a divine beast in just 10 days? Fatty Chu looked at the 4-winged rock and leapt onto Little Rock's back. Spirit King. Only people who were Spirit Kings and above could fly. Fatty Chu could fly up, which meant that he was already a Spirit King. Wei Ziqi smiled, and with a leap, he also flew up. Another Spirit King. A year ago, they were only high-level Spirit Masters. Who would have thought that in a year's time, the 2 of them would already be Spirit Kings? Little Roar sat on Big Rock's head and turned around to look at the 2 of them, saying, You finally made a contract with Little Rock today, so he became a divine beast. Not only did he rise, even Yaguang rose a few ranks. Only I didn't rise at all. It's really unfair. Why didn't you rise? Sima Yue looked at Little Roar and asked, Did I rise? Why don't I feel anything? Little Roar blinked his eyes filled with suspicion. You've risen. After so many years, your face has grown thicker. Sima Yue looked at Little Roar, as if she expected better from him. Only then did Little Roar realize that Sima Yue was making fun of him. He unhappily glared at her and turned his butt towards her. Every time they saw Sima Yue and Little Roar bicker, they felt a different kind of joy. Little Rock carried them in the direction that Ouyang Fei said. That was the place where he came from. It was said that the spirit beasts that were weaker. They decided to leave from that place. Little Rock flew for 4 to 5 days. Just as Fatty Chu was lamenting that they had not reached their destination, Little Rock said that there was an obstacle in front and they could not advance. It should be here. Ouyang Fei said. Little Rock, bring us down. Sima Yue said. Yes, master. Little Rock flapped his wings and brought them down. When they landed on the ground, he transformed and flew onto Sima Yue's shoulder. Sima Yue looked around and realized that the trees here were much sparser than the other places. She tried to walk forward, but felt an invisible pressure obstructing her. Fatty Chu also felt the pressure and stretched out his hand to touch it. However, he did not find anything. There's nothing. Why can't we leave? Fatty Chew did not understand. Because there's a barrier here. Little Roar flew in front of everyone. Seeing that they could not leave, he started giggling. Then, under the shocked gazes of Fatty Chew and the others, he easily flew out. Why did Little Roar go out? Don't tell me there's no barrier here. Fatty Chew came to the place where Little Roar went out and walked forward. However, he still could not take another step forward. What's going on? Wei Ziqi also went to try, but it was to no avail. Little Roar had enough of laughing and floated back. You guys don't have to learn from Little Roar. Sima Yue said, it doesn't know what's wrong with its structure. It's naturally immune to barriers, so this barrier can't trap it at all. Wow, that's great. I heard from Ouyang that those people outside like to use barriers to protect their treasures. Little Roar is naturally immune to barriers. Isn't that an essential tool for burglary? Fatty Chew looked at Little Roar with stars in his eyes. Good, I like it. Little Roar patted his short legs and agreed. Sima Yue patted Fatty Chew's head and pulled Little Roar over. She pulled on his long ears and said, if you don't open the barrier for us, I'll make you follow Fatty Chew everywhere. Ayo, I got it. Little Roar struggled a few times before Sima Yue let go of him. He rubbed his ears and walked in front of the barrier. He stretched out his short legs and touched the barrier. He closed his eyes and meditated. The place where his legs touched the barrier slowly turned light blue. Chapter 159. A pale blue halo slowly spread out with Little Roar's hand as the center, forming a circle that was about the height of a person. You quickly go over, Little Roar said. That's it. Fatty Chew looked at the beautiful halo. The enchantment that had trapped the people of the Dongchun Kingdom for so long had been so easily dealt with. Let's go. Sima Yue knew Little Roar's ability and took the lead to pass through the middle of the light. When Bei Gongtang and the others saw this, they also walked over one after another. Just as the few of them had walked over, Little Roar released the barrier. Roar, where are you going, you pervert? A roar came from the mountain range in the distance, startling everyone. Little Roar turned around to take a look. Oh my God, wasn't this the Beast King whose wife he had teased the last time? Bastard, isn't your territory over there? Why are you here? Little Roar scolded as he saw the divine beast galloping over. This king has been looking for you for more than a year and finally found you. Let's see where you can run to today. The Beast King glared at Little Roar, his eyes filled with rage. Little Roar came back to his senses and wanted to give him the middle finger, but he realized that his fingers were too short and he couldn't do it. So it turned around and shook its butt at the Beast King. Come on. The Beast King was infuriated by Little Roar's provocation and sped up to pounce towards him. It wanted to use its sharp claws to tear Little Roar into pieces. Little Roar saw the Beast King pouncing towards him and retreated a little before shaking his butt at the Beast King. Roar! Bang! The Beast King quickly pounced towards Little Roar. Seeing that it was about to catch him, it suddenly bumped into something. Not only did it not catch the person, but it also bumped into something dizzy. Dash, seeing the Beast King's appearance, Little Roar clutched his stomach as he laughed. Hee. You want to catch this little grandpa? Are you having a good time pretending? Do you think it's so easy to catch me? Sima Yue saw Little Roar's smug look and could not help but facepalm. How could she have such a contract beast? It said that she had tricked it into forming a contract. Was that true? She strongly suspected it. She walked over and slapped Little Roar onto the ground, saying, What are you showing off for? If you do this again, I'll throw you back. Little Roar jumped up like a carp and flew up again. He stared at Sima Yue with a wronged expression. Sima Yue ignored him and said to the Beast King inside, Little Roar was only joking back then. It's been so long since the incident happened. We have to leave this place too. I'll give you some compensation and let this matter pass. The Beast King looked at Sima Yue without saying a word. She thought that the Beast King was unwilling to let go of this matter. You want to compensate me? The Beast King asked after a minute. It's within my ability. Sima Yue said. She would never agree to anything that was beyond her capabilities. I don't want anything from you either. I only have one condition. The Beast King said. What conditions? Sima Yue asked. Take me and my clansmen out. The Beast King said. Out. Sima Yue looked at the Beast King and asked, You want to leave your territory? The Beast King crawled up from the ground and shook the fur on his body, saying, I found out long ago that this place is just a cage. It's just a small territory in a cage. What's there to be reluctant to leave? Sima Yu's interest was piqued. She sat on the ground and said, Awesome. You can even tell? When did you find out? At this moment, Sima Yu's soul affinity was released. The Beast King saw that she sat down and talked to him, so he started chatting with her. Talking about this makes me cry. The Beast King said, I found out a long time ago. At that time, I wasn't a divine beast and wasn't a beast king. There was once when I was chased by a spirit beast that was of a higher rank than me. I escaped to this place and found out that I couldn't get out. In the end, I was almost killed. It was my clansmen who came to save me. From then on, I started to pay attention to this place. After that, I went to many places and found that there was a barrier in this place. Sima Yue didn't expect this spirit beast to be so wise and said, You're here today to look at this barrier too? Barrier? The Beast King was stunned and asked. Sima Yue nodded, saying, Little Roar said that this is a naturally formed barrier. It just so happens that the Dongchun Kingdom is trapped inside. We can't get out because we're blocked by this barrier. That's not right. What's not right? The Beast King looked at Sima Yue suspiciously, not knowing what was wrong with her. Didn't you say that we can leave once we're a Spirit Emperor? Isn't a first-grade divine beast's strength comparable to a Spirit Emperor? Then why can't you guys get out? Sima Yue spoke out her thoughts. Wei Ziqi and the rest heard Sima Yue's words and thought of this problem. They were also puzzled by the fact that the divine beast couldn't get out. The Beast King shook his head, saying, I don't know why either. I've seen a Spirit Emperor go out before, but when I tried, my strength didn't work at all. Otherwise, I would have gotten out long ago and wouldn't have asked you to help me. Sima Yue looked at the Beast King, her heart filled with sorrow. There are so many spirit beasts living here, but only a few had discovered this. The only one that wanted to get out was probably the one in front of her. She couldn't help but say that he really was a spirit beast with his own thoughts. She rolled her eyes, just like Little Roar when he wanted to trick others. She chuckled, saying, I know now. You want to get out and don't want to be trapped here. This shows that you're a spirit beast with aspirations. But do you know, even if you get out of here, the outside world isn't the highest. You can only stay in this mountain and wander around. You won't be able to see the world you want to see. The outside world isn't. The Beast King was perplexed. Sima Yue shook her head, saying, This is the Yilin continent, but this is only the place where the average spirit master lives. Once the spirit master reaches the divine rank, they will go to the higher-ranked continents. Have you heard of the primordial lands? The Beast King shook his head. He rarely interacted with humans, so he wasn't clear about the distribution of the continents. Let me tell you, the primordial lands is much higher ranked than the Yilin continent. My master told me not to go there until I reach the divine rank. Sima Yue said, That's why I think that there must be more exciting than the world here. It's a pity. Sigh. Pity what? The Beast King asked. I'm sorry for you. Sima Yue said, You want to see the outside world so much, but if you go out, you'll only wander around the mountain. What's the point of going out? The Beast King was silent, as if he was thinking about Sima Yue's words. Actually, the most exciting place in the world is in the mountain. It's where there are people. You can meet different people, do different things, and see different scenery. Tell me, why are you guarding the mountain outside? Sima Yue added fuel to the fire. The Beast King raised his head and looked at Sima Yue, saying faintly, Actually, you just want to persuade me to go with you, right? You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference. as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.